Join 77 WABC for Family Fun Day, Sunday, July 20th, as the FDNY takes on the NYPD in a softball showdown to benefit Shriners Children's. Cheer on real-life heroes. Compete in the $1,000 Home Run Derby or Fastest Pitch Challenge, all for a cause that helps children heal. John Sterling will call all the action. Special guests include Dwight Gooden, Sid Rosenberg, and more. Doors open at 9:30 a.m. Get tickets now at ShrinersChildren'sChampions.org. That's ShrinersChildren'sChampions.org.
Well, today, before we get to this, I started off by finding out that the DOJ had just released a report Sunday that said, hey, Epstein committed suicide, nothing to see here, no client list, and that's the end of that. I had to take medication. I don't even use this medication just to stop the shaking, which we will get to the next hour. But this hour might very well be one of the most important issues ever, personal to me. I don't know when it was. I don't know what year it was. I don't know how. It seems like my entire adult life started when one day I looked up and said, what are those jets spraying? They're spraying something. No, they're not spraying anything. That's a contrail. That's a condensation trail. What? Yeah, that's water vapor. That ain't water vapor. Water vapor doesn't cover the United States in this hazy, gauzy, cheeseclothy look, hiding the sun. Oh, you mean chemtrails? I said, I never said that. In fact, never say that. So for the longest time, people said, you're crazy. You're out of your mind. I said, I'm not out of my mind. Look. And again, people, I've been through so many iterations of this. Well, then little by little, I started doing research. And I came upon this fine gentleman, this pioneer, who, if ever there's a Nobel Prize for common sense, who has done more to independently sound the alarm, to geoengineering and the like, who is the paterfamilias, the godfather, the OG, the only one who for years stood alone. And now everybody's saying, yeah, it's geoengineering. Bobby Kennedy, Marjorie Taylor Greene just came out with a bill to stop, she calls it weather modification, but it's aerosolized spraying, solar radiation management, carbon dioxide removal. We'll talk about that later. Following Florida's lead, President Trump even said, now it's cool. It's the weirdest thing. We say things, it's just like Bilderberg. Remember Bilderberg years ago? You're out of your mind. There's no Bilderberg group. I said, yes, there is. No, there's not. You're a conspiracy theorist. No, I'm a conspiracy analyst, as Gore Vidal said. And then one day, they said, okay, that's enough. They have a website now. They called me crazy. They just stopped. It's like, I don't want to compare the two, but it's like with Epstein. Okay, we're done with Epstein. Next. Well, without further ado, it is my honor to bring to the microphone, to the speakers, to your minds, the inimitable, the ineffable, Mr. Dane Wiggington from geoengineeringwatch.org. Dane, welcome to the other side of midnight with Lionel.
It's an honor to be here, Lionel. I sure appreciate your voice in this battle, brother. For a long 20 years.
How long have we known? When did this start? It seems like, what, 20? I have no idea. Time.
It's been a while back for us, but in this battle, you showed the courage to address this issue early on. I'm eternally grateful to you for that. Your voice matters a great deal in this fight. But I've been at this march for 27 years in total.
27 years. That's my first question. Dane, before we dive into the science and the politics of, again, geoengineering, and we'll explain why we use that word, because Bill Gates uses it, other people use it. Tell us, who were you before all of this? What was your professional background? And when did you sign on to being a crusader?
I'm a former employee of Bechtel Power Corporation. That's the largest engineering firm in the world. I quit at a young age because of the things I witnessed. I didn't want to become like. Worked for myself ever since. Grew up in smoggy Southern California. Wanted out of that. Finally got to Northern California. Retired. Off-grid home. Large off-grid home. Solar, wind, and hydro. It was on the cover of the world's largest renewable energy magazine. I thought I would find clean air here and was losing sometimes 50, 60, 70% of my solar power uptake, Lionel, from whatever these aircraft were emitting. I knew that couldn't be just, quote, condensation. I was astounded at the mountain of data on climate engineering that I didn't know about, and I did renewable energy early on. I worked on the first commercial solar plant of its type in the U.S. in the 80s, so I thought I would have heard something about this, but I hadn't. And I started testing my precipitation. I didn't want to find climate engineering elements in it, starting with aluminum. I did. The counts continued to go up the more I tested. I was very soon faced with the reality that this was, in fact, going on in our skies, and my life has been this ever since.
Now, let me do this. You've said this, and with all due respect, you know this inside and out. I could wake you up at 3 a.m. and say, now, and you'll jump because you've been saying this. But for those who might have missed this, when you were setting up, you wanted to live off the grid or on the grid or whatever the particular phrase was, and you had your solar panels set up, you say, I'm not getting the readings. I see the sun. There is sun. There's sunlight. Why am I not getting power? Why are my, whatever they're called, cells or collection panels, why are they not reading any, why is the amount of radiation, number one, decreased? And also, you looked at the precipitation or the percolation. You looked at the ground itself. Is there something in the ground that you can identify as either being anomalous or not usual, whether it's aluminum or strontium or whatever? Does that about set that up? Because you didn't go into this thinking, aha, it's geoengineering. You wondered, what the hell's going on here?
Exactly. And again, want to clarify for those that don't know how solar PV, solar photovoltaic functions. When I say 60, 70, 80% drop, that's not a 60 or 70, 80% drop in visible light. It's in direct, unobstructed sunlight, which is what is necessary for solar panels to work. So we have commercial solar fields that are putting out half their design output because of what climate engineering is doing in the skies. And for those that don't know what climate engineering is about, the stated purpose, solar radiation management, cloud albedo enhancement, to try to increase the reflectivity of the atmosphere. And our most recent studies, even in recent weeks, are stating clearly the albedo of the planet, its reflectivity, is going down.
What is albedo versus libido?
Reflectivity. The albedo of the planet is the reflectivity. That's what keeps too much thermal energy from building up. So these programs that we're told are to increase the reflectivity of the planet, to slow the thermal energy buildup, are actually having exactly the opposite effect, much like a pharmaceutical approach to the human body that does way more harm than good. But we know beyond that, there's no benevolence in these programs. We know they're being used as covert weather warfare, period. And again, the blocking of direct sunlight is rendering all three primary forms of so-called alternative energy, solar, wind, and hydro. It's greatly thwarting the production from all three. Why isn't the environmental community screaming about this?
That's what I want to do. I want to take this. If somebody can be concerned with the exhaust of a Chevy or whatever, or an air conditioning, the people who want to take my fans away, ceiling fans and pizza ovens, and who is smart, the Greta Thunberg screaming and yelling about how dare you, when all they have to look, and this is the part, Dane, that has always been my call. You don't have to read anything. You don't have to know anything. Just look up. And here is the best part. It's been there the whole time. Nobody's hiding anything. It's called geoengineering. And if you go and look it up, Google it, there it is. But what happens when people mistakenly call this chemtrails? What happens then?
It's a really, really important point. That term, although descriptive and fine in personal conversations, it is the immediate official marginalization term if it's brought up in any elected official's office, any mainstream media. They will hand you a boilerplate response, doesn't exist, thank you very much, goodbye. If you use the science terms, climate engineering, geoengineering, solar radiation management, stratospheric aerosol injection, they can't marginalize you. We're playing chess. It's a game of semantics. We need to learn how to play well. And as you correctly brought up about this not being, quote, condensation, your descriptions were very accurate. We have up-close film footage of these aircraft at altitude, nozzles visible, turning on and off. This is not condensation. It's a sprayed aerosol dispersion.
Now, let me see if again, because the first time I heard this, when people hear you for the first time, it's like a tsunami. It's like, wow. You have pictures of planes with a nozzle that is spraying and it'll turn off. That means the condensation will turn off. And one more thing. Dane Wiggington, am I incorrect in believing that today's jets, the engines, and I know nothing about them, are better designed to be cooler and more efficient, where this condensation exhaust, or whatever you want to call it, is virtually either non-existent or significantly less based upon these new engine designs? Does that make sense?
You're exactly correct. It's called the high bypass turbofan jet engine. It's a jet-powered fan. 90% of the air that moves through that engine is not combusted. By design, that engine is nearly incapable of producing any condensation trail except under rare and extreme circumstances, which are even rarer now with each passing day as the atmosphere warms up radically. And it's warming up so radically, Lionel, that we have been contacted in the past by two former military pilots that fly private jets. They fly very important people. They were very alarmed. Their jets were forced into emergency auto descent from above 40,000 feet because the air was 45 degrees warmer than it should be. Air was not dense enough to carry that aircraft. And that means even less chance of any, quote, condensation, anything. These are sprayed aerosol dispersions from heavy aircraft, and we proved that. Geoengineering.org, at the cost of well into six figures, took a National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration flying lab to altitude, top scientists in it from RPI in New York, sampled what heavy aircraft were emitting, found climate engineering elements, all on film, all on the record.
Now, what I don't understand also, what's critical to me is that Bobby Kennedy, I mean, God bless him. I mean, I'll tell you, Dane, there's this, no matter what my subject is, no matter what I've done, you say it, they call you crazy, you're a nut, you're a lunatic, and then one day, somebody rings the bell and says, okay, it's all right. It's just like with JFK's assassination, name it, name something, you're called a conspiracy theorist, and all you're saying is, no, I'm asking a question. Now, Bobby Kennedy said that, I believe he was on Dr. Phil, somebody asked a question, I believe mentioned your name, and Bobby Kennedy said, we believe this is from DARPA, the defense, or the research program. It's the defense wing of the Pentagon or Defense Department. And he said he believes it's in jet fuel itself. And I don't know where that went. So he's talked about it. Bless his heart. Thank God. What about that? Does that make any, do people not know that, do planes flying around not know that they're emitting this?
Unfortunately, Robert's answer was incorrect, and he's being fed data from the Global Wellness Forum, who seems to have made it their mission to disseminate the official denial in regurgitated form that this has something to do with jet exhaust, jet fuel that would make a jet exhaust, and that is completely incorrect. Our work with the University of Minnesota, hundreds of lab tests over that state, and extrapolating the material quantity, projecting that globally, and it looks as if 40 to 60 million tons of these nanoparticles are being dispersed on an annual basis globally. 40 to 60 million tons. You can't put 40 to 60 million tons of highly abrasive nanoparticles through jet turbines. Those planes wouldn't make it 5 feet from the end of the runway. That's patently false. Again, we have up-close photographs of the retrofit nozzles, dispersions being turned on and off. Robert interviewed me for an hour about a year and a half ago, and he was leaned on to do so by some important people. They called me as well. They said it was going to happen. So he didn't do it of his own volition. And Roberts contacted me about 10 weeks ago as well, and we didn't make any progress in that conversation. And I know he's being fed the wrong information from the Global Wellness Forum, which he's closely associated with, unfortunately. We hope he looks for information somewhere else, because that's not going to lead anywhere. And his mention of DARPA is involved with everything bad. So that wasn't a revelation of any form. But this is not jet exhaust. period. It's a spray dispersion, period.
Now, Bobby, excuse me, pardon me, excuse me, Dane Wiggington from geoengineeringwatch.org. Marjorie Taylor Greene announced recently that she was introducing a bill that would criminalize atmospheric chemical dispersion. What say you on that, sir?
We're very glad to see her do that. And we hope that she holds her own compass heading on this and is not influenced by those that have incorrectly influenced Robert. And we're very glad to see this, again, with all the state legislation. And we're working with a number of legislators at geoengineeringwatch.org. And
well, look at Florida. Florida Senate Bill 56. What are your thoughts on that?
We work with them as well. I had a 1-hour conference call with Latipo recently and his whole staff, Surgeon General from Florida. We're very glad to see that. It helps to put the issue on the radar, which is paramount. Critical mass of awareness is paramount. The states do not have the ability to enforce this. I want to make that clear. But that doesn't mean that this legislation isn't important, because if we could put this on the radar, if we could fully expose it, Lionel, there would be a shockwave around the world. The fur would fly.
Now, Dane Wiggington, we've always heard, let me, first, before I forget, is this spraying or geoengineering, is this around the globe or just here, just around our hemisphere?
Absolutely global. At geoengineeringwatch.org, we are the largest source on this issue, largest site, and we're non-political, no advertising. We've had 50 million plus visitors on our site. We have many documents posted. One is an 800-page U.S. Senate document from 1978 expressly calling for the intergovernmental cooperation between, quote, otherwise adversarial nations, aka China, Russia, U.S., cooperating on this issue, because you can't just geoengineer over your own country without affecting the entire world. Yeah, so they're all involved, no question. Whatever their surface tensions are, they're definitely all involved, like mafia families that work together to a point. But are we reaching the point now, Lionel, where that cooperation is starting to turn into something else? Is our atmosphere now turning into an all-out battlefield?
Now, Dane Wiggington, anybody who does a cursory review of whatever information is available will find out that cloud seeding has been around. Operation Popeye, we saw during Vietnam War, Project Storm Fury. What happens is, if you spend, and this is another problem, if you have somebody get off of their behind and just open up their phone, just do a cursory search. It's there. You're not saying anything that's hidden. You don't have to go to archives. You don't have to go to an obscure University of Leeds in the basement and knock 3 times for the... No, it's there. But let's talk first of all about cloud seeding. China purportedly does it. In fact, before we answer that question, let me take a bit of an interruption, right? Interrupt us, I should say, at this point. We are talking right now to Dane Wiggington from geoengineeringwatch.org. In view of Marjorie Taylor Greene and others, finally people are talking about atmospheric chemical dispersion and a brand new bill. President Trump has talked about it. Bobby Kennedy, finally. So is it time to ask, what is this and why don't you know more about it? More with me, Lionel, on the other side of midnight. I want to read a couple of things if I could, you. Mr. Blaze, could you bring him? I want to make sure you bring him back. Very good. This is from Marjorie Taylor Greene. This is on the 5th. She said, I am introducing a bill that prohibits the injection, release, or dispersion of chemicals or substances into the atmosphere for the express purpose of altering weather, temperature, climate, or sunlight intensity. It will be a felony offense. I have been researching weather modification and working with the Legislative Council for months writing this bill. It will be similar to Florida's Senate Bill 56. We must end the dangerous and deadly practice of weather modification and geoengineering. She further writes, this is not normal. I want clean air, clean skies, clean rainwater, clean groundwater, and sunshine, just like God created it. No person, company, entity, or government should ever be allowed to modify our weather by any means possible. They asked, as you know, Doge AI under X, whether this is true. And it wrote, the Weather Modification Policy Act of 1976 already requires federal reporting for atmospheric interventions, but it's toothless. No enforcement mechanism, no real penalties. Your bill, her bill's felony provisions could finally hold bad actors accountable. And finally, Rasmussen reports 60% of the population support laws to ban weather modification. And Dane, not to overdo this, but, and I'm not making, and this is one thing that we have to be careful about. I am, because I'm a layman. But for the longest time, we've been saying, this weather is weird. This tragedy that happened in Texas, flooding all of a sudden. Now, I don't know if that has anything to do with anything. I don't know the first thing about it. But fires in California, all of a sudden, weather, strange hurricanes that stop. Now, could this be just an anomaly? I don't know. But all I know is this thing. For the first time in a long time, everybody that I know is saying, there's something weird here. Things aren't the same. The weather that we have now is not the weather that we knew as kids. Now, your reaction to Marjorie Taylor Greene and the paragraphs full of whatever I just said. What do you think, sir?
We're grateful to her for her courage in facing this issue head on. We hope more follow suit. We have a very courageous representative from South Carolina, Lee Gelreath, who just posted a public statement in front of a brand new, just erected geoengineeringwatch.org Stop Climate Engineering billboard near a military base in Carolina. That's posted at geoengineeringwatch.org, and your listeners can see it. It's a 2-minute statement that's already racked up almost 1 million views on our post alone in a couple days. We need people that are that courageous. Marjorie Taylor Greene as well. And in regard to, again, this going on in plain sight, there's no secret, as you correctly stated, there is a difference between cloud seeding and geoengineering. I want to make that clear to people.
Good. What is
cloud seeding is used as a distraction, as a red herring. So a cloud seeding aircraft, publicized programs, single-engine propeller-driven plane with maybe a few flares in the wings might disperse 10 pounds of material in a flight. A geoengineering jet tanker, like a KC-135, can dump up to 100 tons.
Wait a minute. Cloud seeding, 10 pounds?
Correct.
Versus...
Military tanker, up to 100 tons, depending on the elevation they dump at.
Now,
that's the difference we're talking about. It's an ant compared to an elephant,
yes.
Literally.
If by the way, 30 past the hour on the other side of midnight with Lionel, if God willing, one day it just stops, could we ever return back to normal? Because I've known, we always say, my wife and I, well, they're not spraying. The beauty, the blue, the clouds, the billowy look, the way clouds look, they're not spraying. Can they spray at night? Can they spray during the day? Because all of a sudden, when you see this haze, people just, I guess, attribute it to haze, as though there's this foggy, smoggy, what are you going to do about it? Even the looks of clouds, shapes and smears and formations that I've never seen before. Nobody seems to be alarmed by that. But going back to my question, if they just stopped, can we return back to normal if they just stop tomorrow?
The answer to that question is definitely no. And on the cloud formations, it is profound how few people seem to know what a natural cloud even looks like anymore. We don't see that here in the West. It is so horrifically bad. And the cutting off of our precipitation, our moisture, period, clouds, we don't even have natural clouds here anymore, only the filth up the back of geoengineering jet aircraft. Our skies look like something from a science fiction movie. But in regard to, again, the equilibrium period, if all climate engineering operations were to cease tomorrow, all human activity, let's take it further. If all human activity that is decimating the planet were to stop tomorrow, what would the equilibrium period be based on past events that weren't nearly as severe as this, previous mass extinctions with this type of earth-changing atmospheric disruption, equilibrium periods in the range of 10 to 20 million years, 10 to 20 million. So the planet we've known is done. It's gone in any time frame that matters, but that doesn't mean we don't fight on. If we can salvage some part of the planet's remaining life support systems, we have an obligation to try. And again, this is the first leap in the right direction. If we can do this, and what we encourage people to do so that they build bridges instead of burning them, Lionel, if anybody brings up the subject of climate, anything from any perspective, here's the answer. How can we have any legitimate discussion about it, including Greta Thunberg or anybody else, without first and foremost addressing this elephant in the equation. That's inarguable.
Now, the number of people, for example, the MIT Technology Review, Harvard, Bill Gates, everybody talks about it. It's again, I have to kind of calm down. This isn't some obscure thing that I'm bringing out of nowhere. No. It's been around forever. And people will talk about the most obscure, infinitesimally irrelevant aspects of additional, I don't know, inclusion of exhaust. Or remember when we went crazy over Freon years ago, and then there was aerosol cans, and then there was I thought we worried about the Al Gore. Where's Al Gore? What about the polar bears and all of this guilt? Dane, I don't understand it. I swear to you, like I'm an alien, or I woke up in an insane asylum, and I can't get people to see it my way. I cannot tell you. I remember one time talking to somebody, a local meteorologist, who somebody wrote in and said, well, let's go to some of the questions, and what's a cumulus nebulous, whatever it was. And I said, has anybody ever asked you what they're spraying, what's in the sky? And he looked at me like, what are you talking about? I said, this is your business. How can so many people not know this? I have to calm down, because this is decades on my part of asking the same question. And finally, I think maybe through Marjorie Taylor Greene and others, maybe finally somebody's at least going to address it. Well,
I certainly have had that I'm on the wrong planet feeling many times on this issue. In regards to those that will not admit to this, including the local meteorologists, first we have an illegal federal gag order on the nation's weathermen right now. National Weather Service and NOAA, all agency operations, illegal federal gag order. I had a NOAA scientist state to my face at a marine lab on the U.S. West Coast, quote, we all know what's going on. We have no First Amendment protection. We don't know what to do. As far as the local meteorologists, they know how long their leash is. They're not going to risk their paychecks and pensions. They self-censor. But in regard to the lack of disclosure here, again, until we provide enough cover for these people to come out of the woodwork, they're going to continue to hide. And our attorneys at geoengineeringwatch.org spoke to attorneys from every major environmental group, WWF, Greenpeace, Sierra Club, all the rest. Criminal hypocrisy, absolutely criminal. What they told us, we don't want to address this issue because we don't want to lose our 501c3 nonprofit. Is that not criminal hypocrisy?
You know, right now I'm looking at, for example, this is from the Salata Institute for Climate and Sustainability at Harvard University. It's their website. The Harvard Solar Geoengineering Research Program aims to reduce uncertainties surrounding solar geoengineering, generate critical science, technology, and policy insights. And the thing is that it's there. So right now, again, I don't want to bring up other examples of other issues that have nothing to do with this, but one of the things that fascinates me is how there used to be a time when we were incredulous about everything, whether it's the Vietnam War, what they were doing. Now, put it this way, for the first time, people are asking, hey, I wonder what happened to what these dyes in our food are. It's like we've only been asking that for 50 years. And all of a sudden we see these acceleration and then breaks. Bobby Kennedy, again, thank God, at least he's trying something. Came out full bore, Mr. Anti-Vaxxer. And we went from that to, Cheerios with yellow dye number 5. And I said, excuse me, I'm sure this is a critical interest of you, Cheerio dye. But what were you going to do about autism rates? Well, we'll get to that in a moment. We live in a country where we actually say, for the first time, we're going to be introducing actual evidence as to who killed John Kennedy. And then within 1 week, we forgot it. Just overnight, the Department of Justice flipped back. I know this is not your area, but I'm giving this as an example. Flipped its opinions as to Jeffrey Epstein within the week. It's like watching that interest rate clock. Every 5 seconds, every 5 minutes, we're in, it's out, we're interested, we're not interested. And somehow I think there's a certain degree of learned helplessness. When you keep giving somebody inconsistent stimuli, when you give people a sense of hopelessness, when you give people the idea that there's nothing they can do, that they just have to sit there and take it. Don't worry, we'll address it, but don't worry about this. I think it dampens, it deadens, it disassociates people from the ability to care and to notice. I think it's like I don't want to say a gaslight, but a kind of a conversion reaction where we're being taught, we're being hypnotized. Expect nothing, ask nothing. We know what's best for you. Now move on. Watch your sports. Watch your, grill your hot dogs. Wave your flags. Let the adults take care of this. Does that make any sense to you?
You're completely correct. The majority of the population has been programmed into being into a comatose state at the wheel. And these programs go back to immediately after World War II. And Lionel, you remember seeing the B-17s leaving the big plumes across the sky, right?
Yeah.
So we know that must be just condensation, right? No. We found on U.S. military archives, this is on our groundbreaking documentary, The Dimming, with over 26 million views on YouTube. This film footage is in that documentary. We found footage of B-17s flying in formation, one flying below another, huge plume coming out of the one above that shut off instantly as if was cut with a knife. That was clearly a dispersion. They had to be beta testing during World War II. They deployed immediately after World War II over the polar regions. That's how long this was going on, with the public being completely and totally oblivious. And back to the current state of affairs, and I'm very familiar with the type of bait and switch that we've seen from this administration and every other. I want, for the record, Maha everything means exactly nothing. Zero, unless or until we stop what's happening in our skies. Smoke and mirrors. And I'll finish with this. Lee Zeldin, the head of the APA, also 2 months ago tweeted he was going to deal with this issue, right? Where was he going to start? With two IT clowns from Silicon Valley that launched a few balloons with 10 grams of SO2 on each balloon. That would mean mathematically, Lionel, they would have to launch 10 million balloons to equal one U.S. military tanker, and that's who the head of the EPA is going after to stop what's happening in our skies. Smoke and mirrors. Smoke and mirrors.
Remember, let me go back, because remember something, back again. May sound tangential to you, but it means a lot. Years ago, I read the story about this. There was an expert in ADHD and dyslexia, and he wanted to know, why do people process things differently? And he looked, Dane, believe it or not, at sleight of hand experts. And he said, maybe we can learn from how people use prestidigitation and sleight of hand about distraction, and how you can do maybe ADHD victims or patients, if you will, suffer the same thing. And it made me think, there is this wonderful distraction. If you have children and they start crying, you jiggle keys. Or government, you put them in a car seat, give them a little steering wheel, and make them think they're driving. Let people think they're voting. Let people think they're doing something. Look, see, you're turning it. See, you're voting. And then what we do is we then call something today, if you are, it used to be called, you're a racist, homophobic, now maybe anti-Semitic, or a conspiracy theorist, or a racist, or a transphobic. What I do is, remember, you only take flack when you're over the target. And when I can't address what you are saying, I attack you. That's the alarm. You must be doing something right, because I've been called a conspiracy theorist. I said, am I conspiring? Because a conspiracy is two or more people. Don't forget the Latin word conspirare, to breathe together. It's an arrangement. Who is conspiring? The government is? They don't even know what the word conspiracy theory means, because there's a final, and I'm sorry to keep doing this, but there's a psychological reaction. A lot of times I find people do not appreciate me telling them that yet again, they don't know something. Yet again, here comes Mr. Smarty Pants. Yet again, oh, I don't know about 9/11. I don't know about Vietnam. I don't know about Watergate. Okay, what now? I'm just, I guess, stupid. And here's the best part. Marjorie Taylor Greene, you're not going to hear any of this about on Fox. News Nation, God forbid, Newsmax, nothing. It's like, don't talk about it. How can people are wondering why are pediatric cancers? Why is health worse? We worried so much about our health, so much more that we wore masks and we stood, Dane, 6 feet in front of each other and talked behind plastic glass because we worried so much about pandemics, when people will look up in the air and say, I don't care what they're spraying because it must be okay and it must be allowed. And I'm sorry. I'm losing my mind. Let me calm down here.
You're completely correct, though, and let's put this into context mathematically with people that are worried about their health. This should be an absolute, immediate existential threat concern. Nanoparticles are so small you can fit 100,000 across the width of a single human hair. That's what's being used in these particles, nanomaterials. So you can't stop them with a mask. You could be wearing an N95. To try to catch one of these particles would be like trying to catch a minnow in a tuna net. You can't do it. The system is designed not to show this particular contamination. All official air testing is PM10 at best, and PM2.5 occasionally. We're talking about particles that are exponentially smaller. They go completely under the radar by design. So this mountain of highly toxic material, the most toxic of all, because the smaller the particle, the more toxic it is, the more bioavailable it is, the more bioaccumulative it is. All of it goes under the radar by design. So people have no idea the degree of material they're sucking in with every single breath they take. So bottom line is, and this is one final cap I think would be of interest. So we have Project Popeye in Vietnam, historical record, U.S. military, so successful at controlling precipitation, let's think Texas again, so successful in the 60s that in the 70s they passed the INMOD treaties forbidding weather manipulation in wartime settings. But here's a direct quote from the U.S. Department of State.gov from that website. Direct quote, the provisions of this convention, the INMOD treaties I just mentioned, shall not hinder the use of environmental modification techniques for, quote, peaceful purposes.
Wait. I can't use it in war, but I can use it during peace. Wait a minute.
Exactly, and over your own population.
I can't use it against my enemy because that would be inhumane.
Correct.
But Texas, Cleveland, no sweat. Now, does that make any sense?
That's a
another thing,
quote.
I got to tell you this, and please, Dane, because this is why when I talk to you, I have to go into like sedation, like in a hospital, like a boxer does after a match. I gotta calm down. I read something today where they said, "You don't believe we're finding little pieces of plastic inside." Now we're into plastics. Okay, fine. Thank God. Terrific. Little baby formula. Hey, don't warm up that food in that plastic container. Plastics. Oh, so you care about plastics? Well, what about what you're breathing? Oh, yeah, well, and I don't get it. Now, I'm also going to, I know this isn't your area, and I know this isn't your thing, but do you remember a while back when all of a sudden you were driving along and you would look on the highway and you say, what are those weird trees? There's a metal pole with tree limbs sticking out of that. What is that? And we said, I don't know. I said, how can you miss that? Maybe I'm just blessed with acuity. Well, it turns out it was 5G and it was all kinds of stuff and they were everywhere. I mean, everywhere. And as long as your phone works, everybody's great. Now, God forbid somebody ever figures out, and I'm just spitballing here. I don't know what I'm talking about. If God forbid, let's assume that over periods of time, we are turned into some kind of a metal transistor by virtue of everything that we're breathing. I know it sounds crazy, but if all of a sudden I am inhaling stuff that we never intended to inhale, and it changes everything, my body chemistry, my blood pH, and then you mix it again by something from maybe an enemy, I don't even know. When I ask these questions, they look at me like I'm crazy. But as long as somebody in a conventional news magazine says it's okay to worry about microplastics, that's okay. But if I say it, I'm a nut. See, I touch something and I kill it because I guess I'm crazy. Do you find that people like us, and I'm not gonna, or you, that instead of your ingenuity and your watchdoggedness being applauded and celebrated, you're chided, you're ridiculed as being a nut? It's astounding to me.
It's a very primitive human defense mechanism to do so. Anything that's an existential threat, that's the response we get from the vast majority, the unfortunate majority. In regard to your correct statement that the inhalation and absorption of these electrically conductive particulates must have an overlapping effect with the frequency transmissions, you're completely correct. We also have synergistic toxicity, so we all have aluminum in us now. We know that hair, blood, urine testing. We all have mercury in us now. The base material for these operations appears to be coal fly ash. We have published science study to prove that. So there's mercury in that as well. So when you combine mercury and aluminum, both highly toxic, aluminum toxic to all life forms, period, you get synergistic toxicity. So the combination of those two, again, all of it in us now, each of us, all of us, the toxicity can increase as much as 10,000%, 100 times worse. In regard to the frequency transmissions, we hope that those that are justifiably fighting against the dangers of those frequency transmissions start to look at climate engineering, because we know some of those exact fake trees that you described are being supplied with service entrance conductors that can provide 10 times the power they need for communications. And we know they're being used for climate engineering manipulation because we can see the effect on water vapor loops. Those are being used as a dual-purpose installation, part of the NextRad frequency transmission network in the U.S. that is being used to manipulate storms and weather, just like what happened in Texas. We just recorded it. It's on the interaction of the transmissions in the storm, and also hurricanes. If your listeners search geoengineeringwatch.org hurricanes, they'll see, for example, and I'll leave it with this, Hurricane Harvey. How did they know Hurricane Harvey, Lionel, 7 days in advance was going to go where it went and sit there for 3 days? They knew 7 days in advance because
luck, maybe luck, keen prescience. Well, Dane Wiggington, geoengineeringwatch.org. Let me thank you for this. I can't speak because and Marjorie Taylor Greene, Bobby Kennedy, whatever he's attempting to do, President Trump, please, thank you for this. Thank you. And Dane, thank you for your decades, 27 years of indefatigable work. You are an inspiration, and I, on behalf of a grateful nation and planet and species, thank you, kind sir.
Team effort, brother.
All right, my friend. We have more coming up on the other side of midnight with Lionel, and the latest news, the latest overnight. That's right, Jeffrey Epstein, no problem. Wait till you hear this. No client list, no suicide. I mean, it was suicide. Nothing to see here. Move right along. Pam Bondi, who said, I have the list on my desk. Well, that was a mistake. They are playing us for the biggest bunch of chumps they've ever seen. And what are we going to do about it? We have more coming up. I'll tell you what we should do. On the other side of midnight with Lionel. Overnight, ladies and gentlemen, DOJ and FBI conclude Epstein had no client list and committed suicide. Yep, that's right. Unbelievable. I don't even know where to start. Well, let's look at a couple of things here. First, here's an interesting thing. I find this fascinating. The Gateway Pundit, which is pretty, sometimes they are extremely good. One of their headlines is, wait, what? If there was no Epstein client list, then why did a New York court refuse the Gateway Pundit's legal request for the list based on an anonymous John Doe who was on the list? Isn't that something? There was a file. They filed either an interpleader or an intervener or something along those lines. That was absolutely incredible in terms of the what am I trying to say? In terms of these facts that were adduced. In any event, what is so fascinating to me is that how can this be? They said, if there is no list, who was John Doe who intervened? If Jeffrey Epstein had no client list, then why did AG Pam Bondi tell reporters the list is sitting on my desk right now to review? That's in the process of being reviewed. And the new FBI memo concludes Jeffrey Epstein did not have a client list and committed suicide. Now, let me explain something to you. Do you understand what's happening? I mean, maybe, and I promise you, is any of this going to be on Fox, Newsmax, News Nation? That poor News Nation, they don't know what the hell they're doing there. They're trying anything? Nope. Or anything involving any incredulity? Nope. Is anybody going to be saying, hey, wait a minute, what are you doing? This doesn't make any sense. How can you? Nope. Not at all. Not at all. It blows my mind. Seriously, it blows my mind. I don't know. I've never seen anything like this. Now, when I tell you something, let me explain something to you. I don't ever, I could guess all day long. People say, who's involved? Is it the CIA? Is it the Mossad? I don't know. There's no evidence of that. None. You can guess it. You can hunt. But what do I know? What do we have? We have the medical examiner's report. We have the information that is included specifically involving that which was involved in the actual postmortem. And what does it show? It shows a fractured hyoid bone and thyroid cartilage. That's not me. Dr. Michael Baden saw it, saw a picture of it, and there it was. And that only is seen or is consistent with homicide, strangulation, none of that which is from the ligature suspension that he was involved in. Does this make any sense to you? I hope so. I hope it makes sense. Because let me tell you something right now. This is unbelievable. What Pam Bondi today is going to be, and I like her. I know her. We're from the same. She's going to be nowhere to be found. Trump's going to say, nothing to see here. Move along. Now, let me ask you something. You know that the Trump and the Elon bromance is going over a bit of a speed bump. Why do you think that is? And when Elon says, maybe the reason why you should, what is it? He said that Trump's on those files or lists or tapes or whatever the hell it is. You don't think this was some type of an end around, do you? What is going on here? If you aren't saying what, you're simply not paying attention. And I know you're paying attention because you're smart. Like Fredo says, I'm smart. Hour 2 coming up on the other side of midnight with Lionel. I don't believe anything. Nothing. Now, I am not subject to, I'm not privy to, I'm not able to give you reasons for stuff. But this administration, remember, I do not in any way want to go back to the Biden administration. God bless President Trump. But I cannot believe how when it comes to this, these unforced errors, how Pamela Bondi, Kash Patel, and Dan Bongino, do you feel confident with this trio? What are you, nuts? Let me ask you a question. What have they done? Tell me the biggest perp walk you've seen. None. Oh, there were a couple of judges from I don't know where, some state, who might have gone too far. But do you know of any particular perp walks? Nope. Do you know of any kind of... Has there ever been a BLM audit? Nope. Has there ever been a Antifa audit? Nope. What are we doing? And now he's in a pissing match, pardon my French, with Elon Musk. And Elon Musk said, well, you better watch it. This is Elon Musk. Because you're on those tapes or on the whatever the files are. Now, is this some what? What was this? Do you believe any of this? And here's the best part. What I'm talking to you about. Marjorie Taylor Greene and the geoengineering bill. Do you think anybody at Fox or Newsmax or anybody? No. No. So where do you go for truth? Where do you go? Let me ask you that. Where do you go? Right here. I got to tell you something. Let me back up. I believe in having evidence of stuff. Let me give you an example of something. Let's assume we see this woman. And you come to me and say, listen, I want you to understand something. My wife, she is, she's putting on, imagine before home pregnancy tests, right? And why you want to find out if your home is pregnant, I have no idea. Let's say your wife or your daughter or somebody misses a period, seems to be gaining weight, has all of the attendant signs of pregnancy, but you can't confirm it yet. Could be, probably is, I don't know. But imagine prior to a confirmatory test, you don't know. I would say you don't know. You don't. Yeah, but probably, no, you don't know. Yeah, but I suspect, well, you can suspect all you want, but suspicion and fact, I have no idea. Now, when it comes to, I've heard this story about Epstein. Well, it was the CIA. How do you know? Well, and they just love everything the CIA. Or the new one now, Mossad. Mossad is everything. Everything, everywhere. No matter what, they did it. They did it. Mossad. Yep, that's it. I know it. I know these things. Yep. How do you know? Well, I just know this. You do? I sure do. I know this. And I was watching, what was it? Candace Owens. And Candace Owens had some guy. I don't know who he was. He said, yep, Mossad. And by the way, that comes from this, I don't want to say crazed. But a lot of times you get these folks who have never, ever been involved in any kind of a war or maybe they're new to this. I don't know what they would have done during Vietnam. But there's three people. Candace Owens, a woman named Abby Martin. You probably don't know who they are. And another one is at Anna Kasparian, Anna Emphysema. She's part of the Young Turks. And they go berserk involving Israel and Bibi Netanyahu. They just don't. You can have your opinion, but I'm thinking you're losing your mind. Take it easy. Because there is something going, and they don't want to admit it. It's called Israel derangement syndrome. I'm seeing it. I swear to God. It doesn't mean Israel's right. It doesn't mean you're not right. It means you're losing your mind. So there's all this stuff. And the same thing with Epstein. Well, Les Wexner. Well, Ehud Olmert. Ehud Barak. Wait a minute. Les Wexner. And this. And it's got to be Israel because, wait a minute. That doesn't mean Israel's involved just because it's for, yeah, but you know how it is. No, I don't. That's not it. You probably don't remember this, but I call this the dancing Israelis. Remember after 9/11, they found these dancing Israelis, either in Jersey City or they pulled them over on the GWB or something, and they were dancing. They were elated. They were, yay! After 9/11, I said, so that's supposed to implicate the government of Israel because of that? Well, yeah. I said, no, that's not it. That doesn't do it. That doesn't even come close to doing it. So you see what I'm saying? What I'm saying is know when to, I say this, pump the brakes a little bit. You don't have any evidence of this. It's okay to be suspicious. It's okay to pursue something. It's okay to have an hypothesis of sorts, but don't necessarily go into it thinking that that's evidence enough. Well, the whole Epstein thing has been a joke since day one. First of all, I don't understand, and that's another thing too. Please don't ever try to figure these people out. If I worked for whoever the people are who want him gone, whatever the reason, I don't know. Somebody wants him gone. He did not commit suicide. Absolutely not. Period. We all know that. Again, look at the medical evidence. Not my guesswork. Oh, and the fact is, well, we don't have any tapes. Oh, stop it. Your lack of no evidence. Well, did you see the guy who was in the cell with him? The guy who roughed him up? The guy who was looking at the death penalty? Remember that? Does anybody know any of the facts of the case? No. Nothing. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to make stuff up just because I kind of think I know where this is going. Here's a part I never understood about Epstein. Why didn't they just whack him? One day, let's say in Paris, one day he gets into a car and never comes back. And somebody says, hey, did you hear the story? No, what? You know that Epstein guy? Yeah. Well, we can't find him. We can't find him. What are you talking about? Well, it's the damnedest thing. He's missing. Who? That guy Epstein. Huh. That would have been the end of it. Who is he again? Well, he was a kind of a financier. You know what? Or maybe he'll turn up. That would have been it. Oh, no. They had to get him at Teterboro. They arrested him. They bring him into Manhattan. And they put him in a cell. And now he's there. And they want to do it right in front of everybody. Right in front. It has to be. Because you could have taken him out before. Why now? He was in the best of spirits. His lawyers say he was putting money in people's canteens. He was hoping for the appeal. He was feeling pretty good. God knows what they were telling him. God knows what he knew about other people. I have no idea. But anyway, he was in no way, by any stretch of the imagination, suicidal or anything. Come on. And that's merely, circumstantial. I'm talking about the evidence. People have this idea that when you hang yourself, I don't want to go into the specifics, but that you have this, this hangman's fracture. A lot of times there's no fracture at all. A lot of times it's just hypoxia. Remember what happened to Robin Williams? Remember Robin Williams? Remember Mick Jagger's, what was his girlfriend, Loren or whatever? Sometimes these people can hang themselves on a doorknob, on a shower curtain, because you don't need to suspend yourself. It's hypoxia. Have you ever seen, you've probably seen this before, sometimes in Iran, when they'll hang somebody in public. See, we do ours in private, but they do it in public. And they put them at the end of a turret and they lift it up. And the person will kick a little bit because that's kind of a nervous reaction. But for the most part, it's very, very quick. It's like a carotid restraint. It's like a rear naked choke, that kind of a thing. It's like being put in a sleeper. That's it. Nighty night. That's it. You don't break any bones or any neck. That's it. Once the oxygen cuts off, you're dead. Or once it happens for a long enough period of time. I don't want to go into the specifics of this. But people have this idea that you got to drop and you got to snap your neck. No. Is any of this going to be covered on any of the news stories? No. Why do you think that is? Come on. Why? Because when it comes to conservative news, I'm sorry to tell you this. I don't want to break it to you. The first job is we have to be proxies for the administration. Now, whatever they say, we back it up. We don't want to ruffle feathers. We don't want to say, oh, wait a minute, hold it, Mr. President, hang on a second. No. When was the last time anybody ever challenged Trump to anything? Ever. Never. Whatever he says, okay. We completely wiped out the Iranian nuclear program. You did? How? Well, you said so. That's not whatever. Other people say, well, they're lying. Okay. Is that what you think? Is that what you like? Is that the world you want to live in? I've never believed them. Never. So let's go. Let's take some calls. The phones are going crazy. You're still reacting to Dane Wiggington. And not only this, and this latest regarding Epstein, I can't even speak. I can't even speak correctly. Steve in Florida. You're on the other side of midnight with Lionel.
Have you heard of cloud seeding?
We just talked about it.
Okay, that was all. Okay, it was just Operation Popeye and all of that.
We already talked about it, and this is not. And cloud seeding is not geoengineering.
No, I'm just saying. I've been doing a little bit of research and they're doing it all around the world.
Did you hear what we talked about cloud seeding? Cloud seeding might be about 10 pounds. Might be about 10 pounds of whatever it is in a single prop plane versus hundreds of tons of nanoparticulate. Did you hear anything that we discussed?
I did, but I don't think it was all correct because...
No, you didn't understand. He made it very, very clear. This is not cloud seeding.
It might not be. That's true. I understand that.
All right. Nothing like people who just say, I'm not listening, but we're not talking about that. I mean, yes, cloud seeding is Operation Storm Fury, silver iodide and all that. We're not talking about that. How can you sit and wait on hold, hear the person say specifically, that's not what we're talking about, and then say, what about cloud seeding? See, I think that a lot has to do with our educational system. I think the fact that we are not autodidact enough. I don't think we pay attention to what's going on. I really, honestly, I don't. I do not think we pay attention enough. Our number, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, it's that simple. Our number is 800-848-9222. 800-848-9222. This is the other side of midnight. Let's take a bit of an interruption right now. Between that and the Epstein case, I am beside myself. Asking, is anybody going to talk about this today? Hell no. And I think you know why. Did you ever hear the story about Tartaglione? Tartaglione was Epstein's former cellmate, cleared of wrongdoing. Jeffrey Epstein's former cellmate, big, hulking guy, was cleared of any wrongdoing. And the incident that found Epstein semi-conscious in his cell, apparently with the result of some type of a fight, or his neck was bruised. And I mean, I don't even know what to, I don't even know. I feel like a damn fool even saying this. Most people know nothing about this. This guy was facing the death penalty, and all of a sudden he's gone, he's somewhere else, took that off the table. Well, what did he do? I don't know. Let me ask you a question. Where do you get your news? Why don't people tell you this? Why? I'm telling you again, because they're agents, they're proxies. There's no investigation. Nobody cares about this. You hear all the stuff that's going on with the JFK, the latest stuff? Anybody going to be talking about that? Nope. No. No. Why? Because they don't want to bring this up. Because you've got folks in the CIA today saying, stop bringing up Kennedy because it makes us look bad. Because we've got other stuff that we're doing as well. Stop bringing up JFK. And you're not going to hear it. You're just not. Anyway, you know that. Let's go to Joaquin in Pennsylvania. You're on the other side of midnight with Lionel.
Hey, good morning, Lionel. I actually had the pleasure of speaking with Dane Wiggington back in 2022.
Excellent.
And happened to be on the air with him on another show, and it was just after Hurricane Ian, the Nord Stream pipeline blew up, and the observation was made of a very high volume of methane gas being released. But anyway, it was just an observation.
Yeah.
And but you know something I've noticed. I'm wondering if they're not using this to actually create climate change to further their cause. You know, for their globalist agenda.
Well, it's funny. And, that's an interesting case because if it can be used to control, it can be used theoretically to manipulate. See, this is the part which makes the most sense. You see, look. How many of you have said, there's something wrong? I don't remember any of this. Any of the seasons are gone. When was the last time we had a really good snow? One of those, remember those snows where they shut everything down? I remember when I first, 30 years ago, came to New York. I saw somebody on cross-country skis at Times Square. I couldn't see. I swear to God. I said, where's Central Park? They said, over there. The wall on Central Park South, the wall was covered with snow. I said, I couldn't tell where. I said, that's it? Where is it? Couldn't tell. The snow was unbelievable. When people here in New York, they said, remember they shut schools down and you walked and that was just gone. It may have a little dusting. Oh, we got a nor'easter. Nothing happens. We got weird. Have you noticed all of a sudden where it just all of a sudden starts raining? Hey! And then it stops, and it's the weirdest thing. Now, I don't know what that is, but I know that you know what I'm talking about. Michael in New Jersey. You're on the other side of midnight with Lionel.
Thank you so much for answering.
You're welcome.
I was listening to what you were saying, and I didn't quite understand it. Now, are you saying that the jets are emitting the spray into the air, or somebody's spraying intentionally the stuff in the air?
No, they're doing it intentionally, and it's being sprayed by jets. Yes.
Intentionally?
Yes, of course.
Well, who the hell's telling them to do this?
Well, see, this is one of the idea. Who are they? Are they stopped? Are they ever pulled over? Nobody is even asking a question. Nobody is saying, well, is this a government? Is this our government? Is this a foreign government? Who is this? Who's doing it? Why are they doing it? Look up geoengineering online. There it is. Bill Gates has been talking about this specifically. This has been, remember when we're still arguing about where COVID came from. I mean, that's not exactly a head scratcher. This is the way we are. We have no curiosity. We are incurious. And we worry about things. We're worrying about microplastics in food, which is good. Red dye number 3, which is important. But come on. Pamela in New Jersey.
Oh, good morning. My hypothesis goes in line with what Keem said, and it's been clinched this weekend with what would happen in Texas.
How?
I think it started with Helene, with the drones in New Jersey, and then, and I even called my husband down there, and I said, this hurricane is coming by us. I know it is. It can happen. 100 years ago, it happened.
Wait. You're all over the place. You said the Helene.
No, I'm not. No, I'm connecting the ideas.
And wait. Helene. Wait a minute.
Election is coming, so the hurricane. So now,
hang on. Wait a minute. The drones. You threw in drones.
So now, I know. Well, I'll discuss that, but I want to connect it to the Texas thing because now I see a lot of high-level Democrats coming out and blaming this on Trump. And then they're bringing race into it, that these camps were made up of white people.
That's not a connection.
Yes, it's a hypothesis. Yes,
a hypothesis of what?
I think there is a rogue part of our, let's say, deep state or weather people.
Why?
Who are manipulating political affairs.
Why?
Through weather.
How do you know that?
Weather.
What is the evidence that you have?
It's a hypothesis.
What is the basis of your hypothesis that shows weather is being manipulated?
Because I see the connection between the event and then the political rise.
But that doesn't mean that doesn't validate the hypothesis. There are people who are benefiting politically from something, the aftermath or whatever. They benefit from anything, disaster, good, bad. What is the connection?
Anybody who's invented anything, geniuses who have invented things.
See, now you're all over the place.
There to begin with. No, I'm not all over the place. You're on a Epstein rant.
No. You're saying that you have evidence. You have a hypothesis about weather manipulation because people have exploited this politically. The deep state. That doesn't make any sense.
It always surrounds an event. This surrounded the 4th of July celebration. The Helene surrounded the presidential election.
Uh-huh. Okay. And therefore, what?
That furthers the hypothesis.
No, doesn't. See, this is nice. That's not bad, lady, is it? No, it's not bad. Sounds like it. I thought she was going to go there. See, this is at 30 past the hour. Bull. This is when somebody says, I think, you see, I have a connection between. There is no connection. There is no connection. You're making no connection. There is no connection whatsoever. None. No connection. Because you're saying, well, I want this to be. I think that I think I think BB's coming to meet. Elon is doing this, and it just so happens that this tragedy in Texas happens right around the time that Elon has a falling out with Trump. And I'm thinking, so therefore, I think Elon was involved. And I'm thinking, I'm not saying that because I take A, I throw in a B, and I throw in a C, and they have nothing to do with each other. Absolutely nothing. But in my mind, I want that to happen. So that's not a hypothesis. That's a connection. It could be, but that doesn't make any sense. Pete in Lakewood, you're on the other side of midnight with Lionel.
Yes. I don't know, Lionel Marcos. You could be right, and I could be wrong.
About what?
They did seed the clouds. Cindy Adams talked about this.
Cindy Adams,
Marcos, and she had some type of fashion event, and either Melvin Marcos or Noriega.
What?
I think it was Noriega. They seeded the clouds. I think you were right. They just seeded the clouds.
Cloud seeding is to make it rain.
Right. They just seeded the clouds and stopped the
cloud
rain.
seeding. Cloud seeding is to make it rain.
No, and they stopped it from raining. And then the fashion event took place. And then after the fashion event,
that's not geoengineering.
I know that. You're right. You were right. I was wrong.
Okay.
But
so where are we going with
this? This took place 30 years ago when Marcos was Cindy Adams talked about.
Okay, you keep saying Cindy Adams talked about it. Okay, good. Cindy Adams, God bless her heart. What does that have to do with anything?
Yeah. No, I said you were right. I was wrong.
Okay, thank you so much. All righty. Now, this is where we're kind of like pulling things in, and a little bit of this, a little bit of that. That's not what we're talking about. Is there anyone here who has not looked up and ever seen a streak of something across the sky? And it starts off as a straight line, almost like a straight line. And then a little bit later, the line kind of spreads and it thickens and it spreads and it becomes more diaphanous and more cloudy and hazy. Is there anyone who has not seen this? Cloud seeding is a weather modification technique that aims to enhance precipitation, rain or snow, to enhance by introducing substances like silver iodide into clouds. These substances act as nuclei, encouraging water droplets to form and grow, potentially leading to increased rainfall or snowfall. I said it makes it rain for the most part. Not stop, rain. I guarantee you this fine gentleman never looked at his phone, investigated this, did a chat GPT, open AI, nothing. But he remembers Cindy Adams, which I'm sure she said it, but that is it. You see the other problem? There's no curiosity. Nobody says, by God, I'm going to spend 15 minutes learning about this. Everything you have. I just looked up cloud seeding. My God, every bit of information. There's no interest in it. We're not pulled. We're not compelled. We're not lured. We just kind of sit back, and unless somebody drops it in our lap, we will go nowhere to find out what happened and why. And it just is incredible. And the best part about it is that, watch today, will Marjorie Taylor Greene do anything about this? Oh, excuse me. Will the coverage, let me rephrase that. God bless her. Will there be any coverage about this? No. Remember, have you ever seen Jack Keane, who's from the Institute for the Study of War? And because he was a general, have you ever heard whatever he says? Do you know what that's about? I didn't even know where to start. I look at people, I'm saying, how gullible are people? It never ceases to amaze me. You must understand this. For almost my entire life, since I was 5 years old, when I remember my mother crying when Kennedy was killed, I remember this. I have been fascinated, not so much by this information, but how information is hidden. For example, did you ever hear about Operation Mockingbird? The CIA working with various news media to hide and promote and distort the truth. What do I have to tell you? What will satisfy your curiosity? What? It's a very simple question. It's very, very, very simple question. What will satisfy your curiosity? How can I increase your curiosity? How can I make you go to your phone? Your phone is the greatest dictionary, encyclopedia ever. How is it? What can I do? Tell me. Keith in Cincinnati, you're on the other side of midnight with Lionel.
Hi, Lionel. How you doing?
Good, Keith.
About the Epstein thing, I have to explain this so people know where I'm coming from. I know how he was killed.
You do?
Yes.
Well, hang on, everybody. And what is the basis for you knowing this, sir?
Because I have an extensive background in martial arts. And nobody is talking about this situation.
Oh, I can't wait to hear this. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. I have to give you some background.
Oh, no, background. No, please. Tell me how he was killed.
He was killed with one of the Marine neck wrap movements that shuts off the larynx, the voice
Not
box.
the larynx, the larynx, and that's not it. No, it was not a choke. Nope, that's not it.
I know. It's late at night.
No, it wasn't. No. That's not going to cause hyoid bone and thyroid fracture. Nope.
No, it doesn't do that. What it does is it shuts off the ability, this Marine neck wrap movement.
Let me try this again, Keith. He had a fractured hyoid bone and thyroid cartilage. What you're describing does not do that.
What it did was it shut off his ability to scream out and gurgle.
No. Nobody's listening to him. The guy could have screamed. He could have done, nobody's listening to him. The, quote, guards were asleep. The cameras were off. No. How do you explain the fractured hyoid bone? You're talking about a kind of a carotid restraint type of a thing. That's a different story.
Well, when you do this, you bring the arm up.
You're not listening to what I'm saying.
The bone is being broken.
No, it doesn't work like that. Nope. In order to cause strangulation, it's almost an anterior to posterior kind of a pressure, a compression. It takes it's a very serious trauma. Not what you're talking about.
It does cause trauma. It kills a person.
You have absolutely, positively, without a doubt, not the slightest clue as to either what the facts of this are or what you're saying. You're talking about something. One time you sound like Sean Hannity. I'll never forget this. Sean Hannity was on with Michael Baden. And Michael Baden is the preeminent forensic pathologist, bar none. And as Dr. Baden was trying to explain what happened, Sean was going off and how he's into martial arts and the rear naked choke, and I'm into martial arts, and this is what I did, and I can do this. It's like, okay, all right. Because every little boy now is into martial arts. I saw something the other day, and Robert Downey Jr. was doing that Wang Chun, whatever. I'm thinking, what is the matter with people today? And I'm thinking to myself, Sean, you've got this expert on. Shut up and let him explain how this happened. why he says homicide. It's axiomatic. But people will call it because, well, one time I was. And you do understand, and I'm going to try my best. I'm gonna do my best to maybe do this. I'm going to try. What is the difference between a chokehold, a choke, and a carotid restraint? This is what we're talking about. And this is what we always get confused, because the choke really isn't a choke. A chokehold, the choke or respiratory choke, this is where the target is the trachea. It compresses the airway, not the larynx. The larynx. L-A-R-N? No. Larynx, laryngeal. It compresses the airway. It prevents breathing. It involves direct pressure to the front of the throat with the forearm, hands, choke, thumbs. Extremely dangerous. High chance of injury. It can crush the trachea, cause asphyxiation. It's a real chokehold. It's a respiratory choke. It's a choke. Hyoid bone fracture, straight on. It's also, you see it in clotheslines and car accidents. Carotid restraint. The sleeper hold. Remember the sleeper? Remember Eddie Graham with the sleeper and the vascular neck? This is, the target is, instead of the trachea or the windpipe, it's the carotid arteries. It cuts off blood flow to the brain, not airflow. And the pressure is applied to the sides of the neck, typically with the arm or the shoulder, and it can cause unconsciousness in 5 to 10 seconds if done correctly. And it's the risk is lower than an air choke. Now, the thing is, general term, remember, choke holds and carotid restraint, the word choke is a misnomer. See, but everybody's an expert because they were in the Marines or they took a judo class. What the hell are you talking about? What are you talking about? People, little boys love to talk about how they can beat people up. Joe Rogan talks about it, UFC. Have you ever seen this? Have you ever seen people beating the hell of each other? Headshots repeatedly. That is the most stupid thing I've ever seen in my life. What do we want? Joe, please. You're not in there doing that. You would have a hard time doing your job if all of a sudden you took about 40 or 50 shots at the head on a regular basis. Believe me, even sparring. That's not what we're talking about. But the biggest problem is this. Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, and our president to an extent, they think you are retarded. Not just stupid, not just gullible. They think you are absolutely submental. You're some subtard. You're an idiot. That you're going to say, okay. You're going to forget the fact that she said, remember she talked about the picture. She saw stuff that was so horrible. And that's it. We're done with that. Who is it who says, Pam, what are you doing? Why are you even talking about this? I remember last week, who was it? By Cash or somebody said, and Cash with those eyes bugged out, always staring like he's having a prostate exam with a hangnail. It's like his eyes are bugged out, always frightened. And then there's Dan Bongino. Both of these are YouTube or podcasters who before said, oh, they killed Epstein. And now they changed their mind. Let me see if I can explain this to you. And remember, I love this president. Let me tell you what he's saying. President Trump is saying, I don't give a damn whether I'm inconsistent, consistent. I don't care. I'm going to say what I want. I'm going to say what I want. Remember when he said, we're going to have a ceasefire. Then he bombs. Then he doesn't. Then he bombs. And he doesn't. Then he bombs. And, I'm going to meet with Iran. No, I'm not. Yes, I am. Wait a minute. Did I say that? Change my mind. But you just said, forget what I said. I'm going to bomb him. I'm bombing him now. Okay. All right. Remember when the Houthis, 30 days, we said, that's enough of that stuff. Houthis are the baddest ass. Remember that? Never heard about that anymore, did you? Of course not. Because you have the attention span of a gnat. You're like a little child. They think you are. They just jiggle the keys and you look the other way. Or You're like that, like I told Dane. You're the little baby in a seat. And if you turn the wheel, oh, look at me, I got a steering wheel. Look, Mommy, I'm driving. That's right, little Blazy. You're driving. Yes. You're voting. You're voting and you're driving. And yay. This is great. Hey, want to go to a parade? Yeah. Want to see the big machines fly over? The weapons of war and destruction? Yeah. Isn't that great? Oh, that's cool. That's how we kill people. This is the most demented. I'm walking around and saying, what do we. When I think about what my country's about, what I'm proud of, it's not how we kill people. Maybe I'm just being silly here. We are so stupid. Remember when people would wear those masks, and they still do? You ever see people walk around with the mask under their nose? They're still doing this. And you say, what are you doing? I don't know. Did you think that this mask that once elastic goes over your ears, somehow there's an invisible force field that keeps toxins and pathogens away from you? Is that what you think? Do you really think that? What is going on here? I have never, I swear to God, in my life, seen anything like this. It is the most incredible story. It is beyond anything I have ever seen. We are the most gullible. And we sit back, especially when it comes to Kennedy. Well, we got this. First we have the news, then we don't. Then we have it, then we don't. Yes, we do. I don't know. Maybe we do. You want to hear about that? Hey, we've got some files. Maybe. Here's Bobby Kennedy. I'm going to get to the bottom of these vaccines. It causes autism. Well, maybe not. You want to hear about red dye number 3? Huh? Want to hear about red dye number 3? Who the hell cares about red dye number 3? Well, I'll talk about that. No, I want to hear. No, you were supposed to be Mr. Anti-Vaxxer and people hated you and this and that. And you were going to come out really strong. What do you do about Fauci? You wrote a book about Fauci. And any idea about Fauci? We don't talk about Fauci anymore. What? We don't talk about him anymore. Why? Well, we just don't. Yeah, but you said, I know I said this, but now I'm in here and they told me, Trump told me, that's enough. No, it's enough. Wait a minute, what am I here for? I don't know. Well, what about Dr. Oz? What the hell's he doing? I don't know. He's walking around. Nice hair. I like his hair. White. Dr. Oz, what are you doing? I don't know. Marty McCary, what are you doing, Marty? I don't know. Okay. Hey, Carrie Lake, what are you doing? I'm Voice of America. What the hell is that? I don't know. Hey, Kimberly Guilfoyle, what are you? I'm the ambassador to Greece. Good luck with that one. All right. What else you got? I don't know. Christy Noam, I'm just looking cute in my sister looks cute in her braces and boots. Was it Philadelphia Freedom or Saturday Night? Anyway, these people, they're just, I don't understand this. I'll tell you who's kicking some arse is Alina Habba in New Jersey. Judge Janine in D.C., good work. Anybody else? Nope. Have you seen Bessent? Isn't Bessent the most boring man you've ever... I can't follow him. He just bores you to death. He comes in, no, that's not what I said. Oh, the Yale... forget it. The people say, well, whatever. No, I love this guy. Remember, a president's great, and he's gonna... Did you hear he's gonna have UFC, I think, at the White House? Did you hear that? Can you believe this? He's like the biggest baby when it comes to a bunch of people slugging each other in the head, cauliflower ears. You ever see him in a couple of years? That's great. When you see they're going to be drooling in their oatmeal. That's terrific. Yeah, he was really something. I like this MMA. I like this UCF. Let's gauge his brain damage. Here he is at 20. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to kick his ass. Here he is now. That's my kind of sport. Isn't it great? Yeah. Hey, kids, want to learn how to do that? Not on your chance. Not on your life. We have lost our mind. Have you ever seen the biggest MMA fight? They hit each other in the head for like an hour. It's the most stupid thing. That's the most... I don't understand you. But the poor guy, he had a stroke or something, and he went to see him in the hospital. Let's see it a couple of years from now. The Gracie family. Let's see how the Ronda Rousey. Wait till we see some women too. When they're staring, they're going to pull a Terry Schiavo on you. Let's see what you think about this. It's the most stupid thing I've ever heard. You've got to be kidding. Remember, if you shake it, you break it. God never intended for you to shake your head. Now, there's a skull, and the skull provides protection from, direct blood. But that's different than you actually allowing repeated shaking and sparring back and forth. Let me go a step further. You're going to be finding cerebral microtrauma at the high school level, and girls playing soccer. Did you ever see girls take a header? What do you think that is? Does that help you or hurt you? Or is it harmless? Do you think it's good for you? I don't think it's good. My daughter wouldn't do that. Hell no. I will lock you up in a closet before you did that. And little boys playing football? Nope. Sorry. Oh, come on. It teaches leadership. It's stupid. You're out there hitting this kid's brain. Your brain doesn't even stop developing. Listen to me. To the age of 25, and you're playing some stupid game. You're not going to get a scholarship. Come on. Do something nice, like play poker. That's good. Gamble. By the way, I've got on you could be a part of my X. I still call it Twitter. I've got a poll here. I've got to hear a poll. It said two of them at Lionel Media. First question, is weather being manipulated? So far, 93% say yes. Okay. It's either absolutely or no way, it's just nature. Second question, do you believe anything the FBI and the DOJ say? 96% say absolutely nothing. I don't believe anybody. I mean, this may come as a shock to you, but I don't believe anybody. I've got friends of mine who are saying, I wonder about all these cancer rates. It's like, have you even paid attention to anything? Anything? I mean, anything? You're worried about microplastics? What about what you're breathing? It is unbelievable. I don't even know where to start. And I want to say something one more time. This is the most important thing in the world. We have a mayor's race in New York. Nobody wants to hear my thoughts on that one. Nobody. This guy went to 150 mosques, right? And goes right to the horse's mouth, so to speak. He's not kidding around. And what do the Republicans do? Don't even get me started. Don't get me started. You see, let me see if I can explain this to you. I don't fit in this world. I believe, I don't want to do a mearsheimer on you, I'm a realist. I very rarely say that I believe something unless I have evidence of something. I don't have hunches, hypotheses. No. I need evidence of something. And the best evidence of actual physical, actual lab, medical examiner evidence is the case of, specifically, Jeffrey Epstein. And his throat and his hyoid bone. The hyoid bone is the only bone that's not connected to anything. It's kind of like floating there. It's right under your mandible, just right there. It's so, but people will say, yeah, I was a Marine, just to call you chokehold, and I have a theory. See, what you do is I was a Marine and you chokehold, and it's called a rear naked choke. Sir, it has nothing to do with it. It doesn't matter. I just want to tell people. I'm going to tell anybody. I'm in the chokeholds and martial arts. I'm in the martial arts. Sir, this is not about martial arts. Whatever. Unbelievable. Look at, you know what I love? I love, strike that. When I say love, I mean these poor children. You see the children? Just horrible. Kids stranded, killed in Texas. It's terrible. People say the kids. Yes, you're right. The kids. What about the kids? You're right. What about the kids in war? Well, what do you mean? Well, look, don't you love that? Don't you love the way we can position we can compartmentalize our feelings of disgust or abandonment or sadness or upset. I mean, it's incredible. It is incredible how little this country knows about anything. I mean, anything. And I swear to you, I can immediately just do 5 minutes of a little bit of research on something and learn the rudiments of. There are these things on YouTube. I love YouTube. You know that, right? I think Mr. Blaze and Riff, did you ever see that one? The MFing bogus fireworks. Ever see that? It is the funniest thing that I think exists today. It is it is so fun to hear. Okay, I see that. And then I go into these shorts. And all of a sudden you hear this. Three things that I would not eat if I were from a cardiologist. 3 things. Oatmeal. Do not eat oatmeal. Okay, fine. 3 things you should never buy at Costco. 3 things. 4 things you should never. 6 things you should never. By the by, over the weekend, my wife and I went, was it Friday? I was so screwed up. Friday was Saturday to me. I'm thinking, face Friday? No, it's Saturday. I think I napped. I was all confused. So we went to Costco, and it's like, holy. We go off of Route 3. There's like, oh my God, they were backed up. And the people were going crazy. So I asked a woman, I said, oh, I know, no, it was the 5th. I said, why? He goes, well, we were closed the 4th of July. I said, that was just yesterday. He goes, I know, they're going crazy. These people went crazy. And I saw people standing with their cars, with their lights, their blinkers on, waiting for some car to open up a space a couple of feet. You could have parked in the back, walked back and forth, been in and out, got a little exercise, move around, maybe move that leg thrombus out of the way. And I want to grab these people, drag them out of their car, inject them in the neck with some kind of paralytic or some kind of anesthesia, put them into a truck, and take them to a medical school where we investigate their brains. Why do you do that? You're actually waiting to park 5 to 10 feet closer. Hit them. We grab them, shot in the neck, knock them out, have their car, I don't know, confiscated or impounded or whatever, and we take them, and maybe we incarcerate them. Maybe we put them on an island. Because if we got rid of these people, I swear to God. Another thing I loved about Costco, I got to tell you this. I saw every kind of headdress you can imagine. I've seen burqas, hijabs, keffiyeh. I saw one thing, it's a cross between a gondolier's hat and a Argentinian bolo. I was like, what the hell is that? I saw things that are just, I hear languages. I saw, you know how sometimes you have, a dot or something, paint or dot? I saw 2. I've never seen 2 before. I said, what is that for? God bless Costco. God bless. I've got 25 pounds of walnuts. Should last me. We bought something of Parmesan cheese. We will get through it, or it'll be done. Maybe, I think, at the end of the Vance administration. It's just wonderful. So I live in this world of all this stuff. So as I'm listening and as I'm reading this stuff, and I am so absolutely, positively, 100% aware of a lot of things. Lipidology, hyperlipidemia. I've studied this and I'm not a cardiologist. There's some guy who's at a gym working out who says, get rid of statins. Statins will kill you. It's like, this has saved people's lives. How does YouTube allow somebody to say, Somebody may listen to this. We don't know anything. Take 5 seconds and research this. Take 5 seconds and research the benefits of maybe parking 10 feet away. I'm going to say something to you, and I don't want you to take, and I don't include you in this. I hate people. I mean, I hate them. I'm a misanthrope. I think we are getting more stupid and sedentary. We are devolving. We don't know anything. We can't write anything. I cannot believe how stupid people are. I mean it. I mean it. I am seeing things. I swear to God, this is just. And I want to go and I want to get Kash Patel on TV and say, Kash, do you think we're stupid? Pam Bondi, Pamela Joe, Bongino, Mr. President, what are you doing to us? What is going on here? What's happening? Everywhere I go, from Costco to the White House to wherever, I mean, I don't get this. What is happening here? And thank you, Marjorie Taylor Greene. God bless Marjorie Taylor Greene. God bless Marjorie Taylor Greene. God bless her. I was looking up Marjorie Taylor Greene, just looking up some, just some stories, and all of a sudden I get this picture, and this has nothing to do with anything. But apparently somebody noticed her feet. I don't think this has anything to do with anything, but apparently she has the particular foot anatomy of a sloth, or some type of some type of arboreal, like a lemur or something. It is bizarre. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. All I'm going to say. It's one thing I guarantee you, because you know what I feel about that. But I swear to God, if my feet look like something from a circus, last thing in the world I'm going to let anybody do is to see them. But I'm rambling. I'm rambling incoherent. But that's what I do. Let's go back to the phones, back to what I call excitement. Reminding you, by the way, LionelMedia.com. If you want to reach me, you want to email me, you want to find out how to, whatever it is, go there and also find out I'm going to be at the Cutting Room on July the 19th. Come on and say hi. Tickets are available. Plenty of free parking. Well, sort of. Pete in New Jersey. You're on the other side of midnight with Lionel. Pete.
How you doing, Lionel?
Don't let me down, Pete. Don't let me down.
I won't let you down. I just have one little cardinal rule as a citizen. The government only tells you what they want you to know.
No.
I mean,
no.
I heard that. Yes.
I never thought of that. Ever. Wow.
No, but there's more.
Whoa.
There's more. No, there's more.
I think, wait, there's more. Wait. The government, let me just let that settle. The government only tells you what it wants you to know.
Yes.
Oh my God, you're right. Okay. Second gem.
Now I'm going to switch. I know you're a music aficionado.
Maybe.
Yes. I love the music that you play.
Mm-hmm.
And today, July 7th, is my birthday.
Whoa!
I turn it of the year today. And also, I share it with Ringo Starr, the drummer for the Beatles.
Thank you for telling me who Ringo was. Thank you for that. Appreciate that.
He's going to be 85 years old today. 85. And he's having a peace and love rally in the New York area at Radio City at noon. And you just put your peace sign up and you say peace and love to everybody.
That's beautiful. Now, how old are you today, Pete?
60-something.
No, how old are you?
60-something, 68.
No, why would you say 60-something but not fill in the 8?
I just can't comprehend it.
Why?
I remember being 20 years old.
Okay, so?
And it's
I remember
my
being
life
Friday. What does that mean? What does that mean?
It's just just flying by.
Well, it's fine. It hasn't flown by because if you stop and look what you've done, you have no idea how slow it's been. It has been at a snail's pace. Your perception of it is flying by, but it hasn't flown by. You see, have you ever been knocked out? Have you ever been put under? And by the way, happy birthday to you, sir. You've got a year on me. Okay. Have you ever been knocked out? I think we mentioned this. We mentioned you, Ralph. We're talking about colonoscopies. You go in the propofol. You're out. You say, "Wow, that was fast." Fast? No, it wasn't. Your perception of it was fast. We had to take out the tube. We got to do this. We got to laugh at you. We got to see. Basically, we violate you. We're laughing at you while you're knocked out, and it took about a good 20 minutes. No, your perception of it is fast. Wow, I can't believe it. I just went to sleep. I know, because you've been asleep. Well, yeah, because you're not paying attention. This is the oldest thing. Wow, can you believe how the time has flown? Because you haven't been paying attention. You're not. Think about what you think. Remember when you were in high school? How slow that was? I think high school sucked. It was the slowest thing. What is this? What am I doing? Remember, I'm only a freshman. Let's go. I got 3 more years of this. Let's get this thing on the road. But yet there are people, friends of mine, who say, well, because we have our 50th next year coming up. And I have I really, honest to God, I know this is terrible, but I really have no interest in attending. I really don't. I honest to God, they look so sad. These people sitting around, 50 years. No, not interested. But I remember when high school sucked. People talked about, it was so wonderful. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. What are you talking about? But at the time, you see, boy, that went by fast. Not really. I thought that was at first. I thought this was like a gun, some type of a breach. This is the poor man's version of 60 Minutes. This is for people who can't. You see this ticking? If you follow this, you'll add another 6 years to your life because it takes about 2 minutes to do a minute. I appreciate that because this adds a lot to the show. Do me a favor. Make me laugh. You know what I want to hear. I've been through some heavy stuff this morning. Make me laugh. Please. You know what I want.
I'm trying to get rid of them school. They're gonna want
you've got that is actually you must not that you don't have enough to do, but you must go into the studio and put that. I don't want to just hit you with that. God bless you. There you go. You've got to put that together because I got an email from somebody who said he basically hated me, hated my voice, hated everything about me. But when who was it? What was her name? Do we ever know her name? I don't even know what her name was. Who knows? Who cares? I have no idea. But it was, what was her name?
Abby.
Oh, Abby. See, I never thought of Abby. Very interesting. We have Abby, who's Abby Normal. Think about Abby Normal from Young Frankenstein. Think of who was it? Leslie, who was having her way with Andre the Giant. Remember that one? Those classics. How about our dear friend whose mother died? Oh, I can't remember. You must forgive me. I am sitting here for 4 hours. My head is bombarded with facts, breaks, things. What am I going to say? And sometimes when it comes to, I'm finding, I've always been like this. Unless I say your name like 30 times, I won't catch it. I just don't, names don't hit me. I knew a guy that was this guy, Frank Bonfili, years ago. There was one of the best burger joints in St. Pete called the El Cap. Might still be there. And he'll say something like, I'll tell you what, Matt. You gotta like those bucks, Matt. I'll tell you what, Matt. He says your name like 50,000 times. And he never forgets your name because he just said it 50,000 times. And it was a great way. I never forget. People like to hear their names. And it's a great way to remember what people are saying. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't remember. Names just don't land. They don't mean anything unless I happen to know you and getting to know all about you. Our number is 800-848-9222. 800-848-9222. This is the other side of midnight with Lionel. Please stay healthy and happy. If this guy makes it another 6 months, I swear to God, what are they what? I don't understand. Why wasn't he testifying regarding the Diddy case? Why didn't they bring that one up? You know what happened with him. Come on. I swear to God, give me what can you name a Justin Bieber hit? Do you know a hit? Maybe you do. See, you would know that. I have no idea what he did. What about you, Riff Raff? Can you name a Justin Bieber hit? Name one. Name one hit.
Baby.
Okay, well, thank you. But name one hit.
Beauty and the Beat.
You're kidding. That sounds like one of those weird porn or those off, like Shaving Ryan's Privates and
Don't watch the music video.
I had no, to show you, all I know is he was a kid, right, in Canada. His mother sent in supposedly, I don't know where his mother is. I think they took him right away and she says, that's my son. I think they paid him. Didn't they pay his mother and they bought him? Like slavery. He went on his own and then hung around with Diddy, for a while, whatever that was about. And then next thing you know, he's a star. And I'm wondering, well, why? I thought Hanson was more of a, because I'm into Hanson lately, especially with the satanic references. But what, okay, so they gave him all this money. Give me the money. I swear to God, I'll never do a drop of anything. Keep the money. I'm not going to go into detox. I'll be the happiest guy in the world. Give me his money, and how do you have all that money and you're killing yourself? I've never understood it. I know he's not the only one. And by the way, isn't he supposed to be involved with the Baldwin? Isn't that Haley? Are they splitting his daughter, his wife, Stephen's daughter? What the hell's going on here? And you got Alex's daughter, Ireland. Was her name Ireland? What's her name? No, the little pig. Oh, these Baldwins. And speaking of Baldwins, have you seen China Phillips and Billy? Billy, I think he did Backdraft. That was his movie. That was it. Have you seen these two? She's out of her tree. Why can't these people just enjoy their fame, whatever it is, and just not lose their minds? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Let's go back to the phones, back to what I call fun. Let's go to Tom. Tom in the Bronx. You're on the other side of midnight with Lionel. What is that? What kind of name is it? Is he snoring? Wait. Is he? Oh, this is great. Louder. Pot him up. Yes! Second time in my career. Oh, keep this up. This is like, keep this up the whole time. Yeah. Why should you listen to the other side of midnight? That's some serious apnea. Wow. Have you ever, it sounds like an exhaust. Well, he's been on for 58 minutes. Now that's it. Can you send this to sales, please? We don't need to add anything to this. No. I want this pure. That's it. Just pot it up. Send this to sales. Tom. Okay, forget. Keep this up. Can we just keep him up the whole time? Good.
Wake up!
No. Just let it go. This is what happens. Oh, wait. Come on, keep it there. Don't let it go. Come on, Tom. Uh-oh, apnea. Uh-oh, he stopped. Uh-oh, check his breathing. Please, God, let him breathe. Tom, please. Is he okay? Now, don't have a flat. There we go. There we go. That's the apnea for you. See, that's the stuff that causes the heart attacks. All of a sudden, you lose oxygen for. There we go. I hope Mr. Katsimatidis is listening to this one. This is what you're paying the big bucks for, okay? This is it. Yes! Take that, Greg Kelly. Do you have that? I don't think. Hey, Kumia, try this on for size. Let me tell you something. Takes a lot. I can hypnotize people. Oh, you might call it being in a coma or falling asleep. I don't think so. Wait. Apnea. Uh-oh. There we go. See that autonomic thing kicks in. Wait. Ooh. This guy, we should, you know what? Call sales. Maybe there's a CPAP or some kind of a apnea lab. By the way, if you'd like to advertise with the, yeah, baby. Yeah. I hope Noam's running feed on this one. You don't get this too often. Dominic Carter can't say this. Nobody does this. This is the best moment. Remember this day, July 7th. Remember this one, 7/7. Yeah, baby.
The more you talk, the louder he's getting.
Yeah.
If we're quiet, he's not.
Yes, it's weird.
We're talking.
Yes,
it keeps going.
Maybe he's counteracting that of the. Can we take other calls and just lock him in so that we can take other calls? And then we go, okay, we got him locked in. Okay, pot him up. Can we hear him? Can't hear him. He stopped again. I'm getting worried. Please, Tom, breathe. Let us know you're there. In the name of Jesus. Praise God. Let Tom breathe. Yes, sir. Thank you, dear Lord. Thank you, Jesus. Pete, you're on the other side of midnight with Lionel and Tom.
I am hysterical. You got me laughing. My wife and I, Lionel, you are so brilliant. What you said about the carotid artery, 50 years of martial art, you were 100% on. Okay? Now, I actually, with my thumb, if I ever get my hands on somebody around the neck, I could put them to sleep because all I got to do is...
I could put them to sleep like I did Tom.
Wow, Tom is out cold. I did this about 8 years ago on the Frankie Russo show. I fell asleep. And boy, was I embarrassed because all the callers are like, you fell asleep. I was on for about 9 hours waiting.
Frankie Russo show. I'm sorry.
The Frankie Russo show.
I do not.
He was on,
I'm unfamiliar with Mr. Russo's work.
He was on like your spot. He was on from like 1 to like 5.
There you
go. It was a good show, but it got a little too blasé. It got a little too wild.
Well, thank you, Pete. Come on, Tom. Tom. Wait. Tom. It sounds almost like it's a flushing, not Queens, mind you, but it sounds like a machine, like you're reversing the bilge. By the way, did we do 30 past the hour? Sorry about that. I think we missed it. How? A good reason for this. Wait. This is not good. In the name of Jesus. Rise. Kick in, autonomic sleep breathing cycle. Kick in. Let the respiration begin. A flood of oxygenation. In the name of God. Yes, God. In your holy name. Let's go. Okay, let's go to Rob in White Plains. Rob, you're on the other side of midnight with Lionel and Tom.
Hey, listen, you said you wanted to laugh. Here's one for you. Here's a riddle, real quick.
Okay.
What is fee fi fo 550 fofo 55? What is that?
It's a phone number for someone.
It's a phone number that's being given to the judge by Mike Tyson.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. It's that kind of wit and appropriate wit. Never at all out of the ordinary. I'm worried. You think we can do this? What's the over and under on us doing this all the way to 5? What do you think? We've got to do this. See, this. There we go. Yes! I love that kind of like that porcine snort. That's what makes it better. Yes, let's go to Carl in New Jersey. Carl, you're on the other side of midnight with Lionel and Tom.
Okay, here's what to do.
Okay.
We get some rich guy.
Get to do
rich.
about what, by the way? Just help us out.
Oh, okay, chemtrails.
Oh, we don't use that term.
Okay. Oh, what? Really?
My God, we've been saying this a million. We call it geoengineering.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't really agree with that, but listen.
That's the name of it.
Geoengineering.
Yeah, there is no such thing as chemtrails. That's a kind of like a street. That's a conspiracy theory street version of it.
Okay, then what do we call them? We call them geoengineering.
Oh my God, jeez! I want to hear the guy snore. I think we will. In fact, that's all I'm going to do. We'll just have this on a loop. Do me a favor. Make sure that we have this in our music mix. In addition to Say It, You Old Bat, we got to have this. Wait, there's some rustling. Oh, I don't know what this is. This is, these noises they sound metallic. Have you noticed that? It's a machine. Hydraulics malfunctioning. Wait. Don't move. Please don't try this at home. I'm a professional. I've done this. Because remember, they say that if you wake a sleepwalker, it's very dangerous. And there's nothing worse than the sleepwalker, somebody who's waiting on hold. We don't want to wake them. Because if he were to be roused from slumber, that jolt could be a problem. There we go. Lucy in Virginia, you're on the other side of midnight with Lionel and Tom.
This is classic. It happened once before to you, too. I remember that. That was so funny.
Yes.
He can sell this as a whatever.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Lucy.
I called about, we are dumbing down America. I'll tell you a story. No?
Please do.
Oh, okay. I worked at a hospital, labor and delivery, and if we delivered somebody and the naval hospital wanted to transport them, mother and baby. So we called and said, Portsmouth Naval, come get this mother and child. So it was a couple hours later, and they still hadn't come. So we called back, and they said, well, we're trying to decide whether to send one ambulance or two. Come on, people. That is so stupid.
It is.
Everybody was healthy. But anyway, we have dumbed down America. Don't wake Tom up.
No, we're not. I don't think that's possible. There's something there's something right now, somewhere on another planet, maybe somewhere out in space. Maybe the enemy is listening. I don't know. But they're listening and saying, what is with these people? They celebrate sleep in the strangest. Do you know that I'm telling you, there are people that I know who, if you were to do this, they would say, oh, turn it on. You don't want to have him on. He's sleeping. And say, no! Second time in my career. Second. And at the time his phone was blinking yellow, which means it was on like almost an hour. I thought, okay, I'll get to him eventually. And he's still there. By the way, if you would like to find out a way, if you would like to try to rouse Tom from slumber, call us at 800-848-9222. 800-848. How long has it been on totally, Riff? Since his first call. I know it's been on 6 minutes since I went to him, but it was on about an hour before that, correct?
Yeah, I think so.
So it's been on an hour and 6. You think somewhere maybe his family is trying to get through to him? Or you don't hear any phones going off in the background. Maybe they don't. Maybe no one cares. But if you can figure a way how to rouse Tom, we got to give a prize. Can we go to the prize closet? Every radio station has a prize closet. It's a T-shirt or a mug or something. If somebody can wake this guy up, we'll give you something. And by the way, did you get sales on the phone yet? 800-848-9222. Let's take a brief interruption as we return. And I think we should also keep him up during all the spots continuously. We'll return with Lionel and Tom on Absolute Radio History. I am absolutely without a peer in my radio career, my friend, since this would be my 30s. This would be like the 37th year, 88. Started in 88. First time I ever did anything, where you got paid for 37 years. 2 snorings. We're talking about, we talked about geoengineering. Please don't call it chemtrails, please. Geoengineering is a name. And we also talked about, which is something very, very important, we talked about the idea of how nobody is buying this ridiculous story of Epstein. Meanwhile, wait a minute. Tom, are you there? Tom! Thank you.
Yeah, was I sleeping?
Tom, thank you. Tom is okay. Not only were you sleeping, you were a hit. You were a hit. By the way, Tom, that apnea, have you ever had yourself diagnosed? You might want to go to a sleep lab or something just to...
Yeah, I looked into it, and then when they talk about putting on these outlandish-looking masks, I said, no thanks.
Well, the masks are merely to make sure you're breathing correctly, but it's to monitor your respiration and the like. I will tell you, though, you had us riveted, and we want to thank you. You were on our reel, and I thank you for that.
I tried to snore to a tune like Yankee Doodle Dandy. Did it come across like that? But
it was more like a kind of a hip, kind of a Mingus background. It was terrific. Tom,
anyway,
I'm glad you're okay. I'm glad you're with us.
I'm fine. I do have to make mention because tomorrow morning I'm going to follow this up with a phone call to a woman who I think is going to be 98 this year, and she was the one who introduced me to Contrails. And I looked in the backyard of her home, and they had these big, thick copper pipes that she had installed, pushed into the ground. And I said, Glendora, what is that? She says, Tom, don't you know that's for the Contrails? And a brilliant woman, graduate of Vassar, has still puts public TV. I think she's had 14,000 episodes and had children's programs.
Wait a minute. What does the copper tubes in the back have to do with Contrails? Huh?
I have no idea.
Did you
ask?
I
have to question her tomorrow. She told me. I forgot. She said there was something about it, and
Contrails, actual condensation trails, do exist and have existed in aircraft and the like. But I don't understand the connection at the levels of the. I don't know what the hell. I have no idea what I'm talking about.
This lady, she could look her up.
No, it's all right. No. Let's just move on.
Right, I'm giving her
move on to the next topic. Tom, was there anything that you had in addition to that story?
No, other than Ronald McDonald at the motel, I can't think of anything else.
Thank you so much.
It's just,
Tom, you have provided us with more inadvertent entertainment than you can imagine. And I want to thank you for that. And it really builds up my spirit when you are basically sawing logs as I speak. Thank you, sir.
As it were.
Thank you so much. Have a great day, my friend. Thank you so much. I don't know how to undo him. There we go. Let's go to Bill in Ontario, or as we say in Spanish, Ontario, Canada. You are on the other side of midnight with Lionel.
Hello, Lionel. Phil, how you doing?
Excellent, Bill.
Actually, it's Phil, Phil. Maybe I might have.
It's okay, Phil, Bill. Who cares? Phil. Be that way.
Happy to be calling your program. I am a first-time caller.
Thank you.
I started listening to WABC just recently after 880 WCBS went off the air.
Okay.
And I wanted to listen to some good radio while driving home from work. And it's always entertaining to listen to what you're saying and informative.
Well, thank you.
To let you know.
That is merely by accident. I will tell you, accidentally.
Yes.
Bill, tell me about yourself. What do you do in Ontario?
I am a bus driver with the municipal transit service here in Toronto called the TTC, Toronto Transit Commission.
And I love the way when I hear somebody really speak from they pronounce it Tronto, Toronto. It's just Toronto, not Toronto, Toronto.
Toronto, yes.
Right.
We sort of don't pronounce the second T in the name. Sort of like
how about the first O? It's the first O I'm talking about. It's Toronto. You don't need it's TR like Trip, Trump, Toronto. Anyway.
Yes.
So how is your country dealing with the aftermath of Mr. Trudeau? Is he still in power? I have no idea.
No, Mr. Trudeau is gone. Replaced by Mark Carney.
That's right. That's right. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. This is Mr. Carney. I'm sure is doing a fine job. But after Trudeau, what is Trudeau doing now that he's left and destroyed everything?
I don't know. I think he's taking some time off to basically retire and decide what he wants to do next.
How do you like Carney? How do you like Art Carney or Carney?
Mark Carney. I think he's doing a great job. I actually helped with his campaign, one of his candidates here. I believe he's got great experience. He has a clear understanding of what this country needs, which is to break down some trade barriers between the provinces. He is quickly building trade relations with.
Well, you are straight from the Chamber of Commerce, Bill. Yes. What is the? How do we say this? What is the biggest misconception of Canada that most people and Americans have in particular that you would like to dispel once and for all?
The biggest misconception, I believe, is, and this is kind of unfortunate, but there's a misconception out there, basically around the world, certainly in the United States, it seems, that everybody up here is courteous and kind and apologetic.
Yes.
We are not. I'm sorry.
Oh, good. You're rude and gruff.
We're ordinary people with problems and shortcomings, but this idea that we're sort of hyper courteous people up here, I'm sorry, we're not. But it's a good place to visit, good place to live. Wouldn't want to live anywhere else. I was born and raised in Toronto, and I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. So I'm happy here.
What is your biggest? We have a lot of problems here in this country. We have a load of problems. What are some of the societal things that you wish you could correct that Canadians know? Because here we have crime, we have this, we have how do I say this? Heterogeneity sometimes is a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. Especially when people feel like they're not connected to anything. What about your country? What are some of the issues you would like to correct if you could?
That is some of the issues. People are feeling isolated. People are feeling lonely. This is the kind of thing that occurs both in big cities and in rural areas. But I think that the biggest issue we've got is that we are a very long country. East to west, we're several thousand kilometers and 4 to 5 time zones. And people really are not connected east to west, as I believe you are in the United States.
Really?
You don't have that sense of national unity. Believe that we really could use with right now. And there would be a stronger country if we had it.
How is racism? Does racism exist? Is that a problem?
It's a problem.
Really? I don't know why I'm surprised. I don't know why that surprises me.
Well, we're human beings.
That is true. That is true.
And as a result, we have our prejudices. There are times when we don't like other people. I think we're doing pretty good.
Now, I want to talk to you about something, so a couple of things. 2 things. Yes. One is poutine. Explain that one to me. I think there's something. I think we need more. I think there would be if Americans knew more about that, they would love it.
It's sort of like French fries, although soft instead of crispy. With a cheese sauce on top of it. And it originated in Quebec.
Now, I don't want to correct you, but I believe it is a curds and a gravy.
Yeah.
It's not a cheese sauce. It is curds, cheese, curds, and gravy over, you say, wilted, soggy fries. Or chips, whatever you want to call it. Now, another thing, too, is the whole Tim Hortons thing. I'm sorry.
I've got a Tim Hortons in front of me here now. I just finished it while listening to Tom snoring. And we've got 24-hour Tim Hortons up here.
Is that a big deal there? Is that a big deal?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Tim Hortons is part of the national fabric, I believe, up here. Even though the company is now owned by a Brazilian firm, multinationals have taken over.
Do you remember Bob and Doug McKenzie on SCTV, The Great White North? Remember that one?
Yeah, we often refer to ourselves up here as hosers.
One of the greatest. Do you know the story behind that?
They started Second City TV.
No.
From here in Toronto.
No, what happened was, in fact, they did Takeoff. Did you ever hear Takeoff in the Great White North with Geddy Lee? One of the best songs. It's a great song. Supposedly, SCTV there was a rule that said something to the effect of we have to have a 100% or a Canada-centric TV show or something that was Canada. And they said, you want Canada? We'll give it to you. So out of protest and out of satire, they came up with Bob and Doug McKenzie, these back bacon, beer swilling, Molson, good day, with your and it took off, as in takeoff, and it was one of the biggest things ever. And it was meant as a derisive, as a pushback to this rule that said that. See, I always liked the notion of Canada. And I've always thought that if the worst thing, think about this, if the worst thing that you're ever called is polite and passive and understanding and accommodating, this is what you're embarrassed about? I'll take that hands down.
Well, I'm not so much embarrassed about it, but the idea that...
I think you're embarrassed. I think you're embarrassed. And I think people, frankly, are embarrassed by you. But that's another story. And I kid, of course. I watch YouTubes of Japanese people bowing. I saw a YouTube of a Polish metro. I almost cried. It was like a church. It was a church. It was the most beautiful thing in the world. We have absolute ribaldry and savagery and a veritable cornucopia of mental illness, the likes of which I can't explicate. Listen, my friend.
Yeah.
Bill, thank you so much for calling.
No problem. Good talking to you.
And what do you call yourself? Not a Canuck. What's the name for Canadians? What do you call yourself?
I call myself a Canadian.
A Canadian. Okay, very good. But isn't there some slang? Why am I thinking Canuck? What is a Canuck? What does it even mean?
Canuck. That goes way back.
But what does it mean?
It's a slang term. I believe it originated sometime around World War II. It was a slang term for the Canadian troops who were over in Europe.
Right.
That it's been around. It's not used too much.
Well, I'm going to use it. I like it. It sounds like something. And you would refer to, I guess, Canuckles or Canuck 3 times on the... Anyway, listen, no. Bill, thank you so much, my friend.
No problem.
Isn't that great? You see that? No problem. Isn't that great? There's a joke. Why? I can't do this. The punchline is so they can both watch hockey on ESPN at the same time. That's the punchline. And if you know the joke, you know what that is. Tom this morning was, I feel like saying, that's it. We can't get better than that. I thought I'm going to hit people with hardcore. Nobody will remember my thoughts on Epstein or anything else for that matter. But when it comes to Tom sleeping for an hour oh my God. Our number is 800-848-9222. Let's go back to your thoughts, your plans, your ideas, your immediacy, whatever you feel is critical. Let me know. Also, how about this Elon Musk feller who wants to have a third party? And I think there's a little something going on regarding that Epstein business, but we'll see about that. More coming up on the Lionel Show. 800-848-9222. 800-848-9222. One line open, and that's got your name on it. If you just happen to tune in now, you miss. Oh, this is beautiful. Just keep this. By the way, keep this for other shows. Don't tell anybody I said this. Just in the middle of, I don't know, Greg Kelly or somebody. Just play this. Just like Kumia especially. He'll love it. I say, what is that? I say, I don't hear anything. Years ago, I told you that when I was on WABC in the morning, years ago, 25 years, 27 years, whatever it was. And one morning I came in and the board operator said, don't pick up line, don't pick up line 3 or whatever it was. I said, why? He says, because the guy's asleep. I said, who's asleep? He said, that guy's asleep and he's snoring. I said, wait a minute, what? Yeah, he's snoring. He's snoring? Okay. Oh, we can do multiple. Ooh, if you can get like a disco kind of a rhythm, that would be good. Like, I'm not sure how you could do a stutter move with snoring. But what is snoring exactly? One of my favorite questions. But in any event, so what's interesting about it is that the what the hell was I saying? Oh. So I walked in and I said, keep this going. This guy had an absolute then let me trying to get the name is the actual name. There's a wonderful name for snoring. It's called stertor. Stertor refers to the low-pitched, noisy breathing that occurs during sleep due to partial obstruction of the upper airway. It is distinct from stridor, which is high-pitched and usually indicates a more serious obstruction at the level of the larynx, or as someone calls it, larynx. One of our callers called it larynx. Snoring is stertorous breathing. So in any event, back to the story. So I said, just play this the whole day, pot it up, let it go, and people were just riveted by it. We had on I don't know, Congressman Pete King or something, and he said, what's that noise? I said, don't worry, Congressman. I said, it's a guy snoring. Okay. Anyway, so he went back to his story, and you hear this, the snoring, there was the whole time. Now, one of the geniuses, the old radio people who have no sense of humor, no ability, not an artistic bone in their body, they said, hey, don't you think you should have maybe cut that off? Because I said, listen, numbnuts, pardon me, but do you know what that was? That was the longest TSL or time spent listening ever, because people wanted to stay throughout the whole show to see whether he was still doing it. People were in their cars. People wouldn't leave. And see, this is the mentality. People were waiting right now to say, is he going to make it? And it's like, the worst is when he woke up. I'm sorry to say that, but. So anyway, sleeping. Now, snoring, I don't know about you, but snoring is one of these things that, if you've ever lived with a snorer, or it can be a terrible, terrible thing. It can be apnea, obstruction, weight loss. Let me also tell you something. Remember one thing. Be very careful. Be very careful if you want to go to a sleep lab, or you have certain, I don't know, tests done or blood tests, or make sure you get all of your, if you're interested, your life insurance done ahead of time. Because the first thing they're going to do is, did you got a sleep apnea? Okay. Well, that'll affect your premium. Wait a minute, what? Yeah. We noticed here did you have a calcium test done? Yeah, I did. Yeah. Did you have a cardiac, whatever it is? What you think it might be great to prolong your life, which it does, just remember that underwriters look at it differently. You know what I'm saying? Differently. I got to tell you a story. Years ago, I was on the air and I talked about a colonoscopy and something, because I had like a stress test or something with thallium, which just came out okay, but and it's a mild radioactive, isotope or whatever the hell it's called. And I was combining the two stories, regaling people with my colonoscopy. Thank you so much. I like that. By the way, send that to sales too, because sometimes we'll do that just to jar people's attention, just to make them aware. So anyway, I was talking about this on the air. My wife and I happened to go to the U.S. Open, which to me was as riveting as watching fruit fall off a tree. I mean, it was okay, but after 5 minutes, it's like, I got it. And we're talking the center court and all this in a guest box. It's like, I got it. I just have whatever that gene is that makes people enjoy spectator sports, I don't have it. In any event, as we were crossing the street, an NYPD cop from way off says, "Excuse me, pardon me," and he's walking towards me. And he says, "Excuse me, did you have a procedure?" I said, "Did I have a procedure?" I asked my wife, I said, "Wow, I guess everybody knows about my colonoscopy." Whatever. I said, "Well, do you listen to the radio?" He says, "What?" "No. Did you have a procedure?" I said, "What are you talking about?" He had his radioactive, this Geiger, not a Geiger counter, but whatever the detector was, he was picking up the thallium or whatever it was from this stress test. Me, like halfway across, I thought, oh my God, I'm radioactive. That was weird. That was strange. In any event, sleep. Let's talk to you about sleep. Sleep is one of those things which, especially when you do this, you have no idea what sleep does and how people around you make you feel terrible. For example, I got this one the other day. I said, "Hey, I'm on doing the show, blah, blah, blah. You should listen. It's overnight." "Wow, how do you do that?" I said, "How do I do it?" "Well, you open up the mic," and he goes, No. I mean, wow. And I said, "Well, what is?" He goes, he said, "Oh, that must be tough. People of our age." I said, "No, I think people of our age actually can need less sleep." Anyway, I said, "What do you think this means?" And I'm thinking to myself, as I was walking out of my building, there are people coming in from walking their dogs, or they are out and about and they've been up the whole night and they're coming in and they're awake. They're awake. I'm awake. They're probably still awake now. People I don't understand what it is, but they think that, I don't know what they think. Now, it does throw your schedule off a little bit. And when you do sleep, it makes you realize the greatest thing in the world, I'm telling you, I never understood this before, and that's napping. Now, what constitutes a nap? How long do you sleep? For example, do you nap at night? It's hard to say. Or is that sleep? Nap sounds like transient, intermittent, short spurts of sleeping, doesn't it? We're napping. Dozing off isn't even a nap. That's just your head closes, your head bobs, and that sort of thing. Sleep is the whole bit. I find it fascinating. Do you ever see a baby sleep? Their eyes go back and forth. Do you ever see that? When their little brains are developing and they're into that REM sleep. REM sleep is the most important sleep of all because rapid eye movement, because it causes the myelinization and defined circuitry. And that baby is dreaming. I'm thinking, what the hell's a baby dreaming? What does he dream of? I want to know what blind people dream of. I want to know, do you ever see a dog sleep? Sometimes their eyes will go crazy. What's a dog dreaming of? Dreaming is important. Remember this story years ago. They did a test of, I don't know who they are, but they did a test of some sort in which they wanted to see what would happen if during REM sleep they decided to, if they decided to wake people up when they hit REM, rapid eye movement. What would happen? And when they did it, people would immediately go back to sleep, but they were never rested. And they slept theoretically for hours, but they weren't rested because it's the quality of your dreams. And I did something which, if you're interested in dreaming, do this. I'm telling you, I did this a while back. I had this crazy thing. It wasn't crazy, but it was this thing I used to advertise called collage. And collage was a series of CDs, I think CDs. Listen to me, CDs. That would help you and assist you in sleeping. And you would put this music in, maybe it would be, I don't know, like I didn't really listen to it, but in this sample thing they gave me was a little black mask. Little black mask. You know, like the Eileen Francis, I used to call it the Polish Lone Ranger. I know it's terrible. That's a joke. There's no eye holes. Get it? It's a joke. Hey, come on, take it easy. Anyway, so you put it in, I can't see, but you put it on, or like you're about to be shot or whatever it is, but it's a blindfold. I went to sleep so fast. It blocks out every little bit, and you got to get that satin kind. And I swear to you, I've got a bunch of them. And I look like Lisa Douglas, or I look like some Park Avenue socialite, because I'm wearing this glass. It's the greatest thing in the world. Now, you know what else I found out? When I want to hear stuff, if I hear people speaking, I just go to sleep. I like lectures, but I like audiobooks. I don't know what the book is about, but I found out 3 hours of mob documentaries. I was listening to it was Al Capone this morning. And it was in 1899 in Brooklyn, Antonino Capone and her husband gave birth to Alphonse Capone, or Capone, who became, and I'm like listening to this. Now, at some point, maybe during the course of a dream, I will incorporate Alphonse Capone into my dream, I guess. It's a great Kenny Loggins song from his first album, Celebrate Me Home, Enter My Dream. Oh, beautiful song. And I swear to you, I'm in La La Land. So I've got the glass thing on, and I'm listening to, well, could be anything, but a certain frequency, a certain timbre. And this is, of course, through headphones. Please do not, remember, keep your phone away from you in your bed. This is a radioactive machine, and do not sleep with, nor should you wear for any period of time, ear pods. Do not do this. This is radiation. That notwithstanding. So I sleep, and I feel terrific. I've never had a problem sleeping. There are people who, listening right now, they will wake up. I never wake up. Well, I shouldn't say that. I do wake up eventually, but I don't understand that. And the whole notion of sleep, as our friend Tom indicated, has always been a fascinating subject for me. I love it because it's one of those things. Because during sleep, your brain waves slow down. Oh, and here's another thing too. Look up this. Why do we sleep? What does sleeping do? Why do we sleep? What does it accomplish? Why do some animals sleep less or more than others? What specifically is the restorative benefit of sleeping? Now, you may think you know that answer, but you don't. They've been trying to figure this out forever. And it's a survival mechanism, I guess. And from what my research shows, it serves multiple vital functions. It's a maintenance protocol. It's a software and hardware reset. And scientists once thought that sleep was a passive shutdown. They were wrong. Sleep is one of the most metabolically active and strategic states that the body goes through. And people don't understand this. They think that sleeping is a sign of weakness. It's cognitive restoration. It produces memory consolidation. Short term becomes long term. Skill learning, emotional processing, pattern recognition. The brain reorganizes and deletes noise, like emptying your desktop trash. REM sleep plays a huge role in creativity, problem solving. How about glymphatic drainage, which is the name of my high school garage band? During sleep, brain cells shrink by 60%, opening space for cerebrospinal fluid to flush out waste, including beta amyloid plaques linked to Alzheimer's. Think of it as your overnight detox. Cellular repair, immune function. T cells and cytokines are regulated during sleep. Poor sleep, weaken defensive. Metabolic regulation, emotional and mental health. It's wonderful. Being drunk, drunks don't sleep. Being drunk, as you probably know, you're not going to sleep. It doesn't help. It's something that we have to spend more time doing. And we laugh at it. We have this thing about it in our country that somehow that it's weakness. It's not weakness. And talk to people like those of us who are kind of in the business. And you, Blaze, how you, my God, your whole life is sleeping. Do I go home? Do I sleep? Oh, I got to change the filter in the sand for the pool, and I got this. I mean, your whole life, all of it revolves around sleeping. It's like a bodybuilder. All he talks about is eating. You ever see professional bodybuilders? That's all they do is eat. They eat all day. They got to plan their eating. They got to prepare their meal. Not me. I just think about stuff. And what is this? What sponsored? What inspired this talk of sleep? Our man who slept for over an hour today. And if you missed that, it was the greatest part of the show. We have more coming up on the soporific, somnambulistic Other Side of Midnight with Lionel. Lou in Nyack, you're on the other side of Midnight with Lionel.
Yes, welcome. This is Blind Lou here with the white cane in the right hand. You know.
I like when you say welcome. Thank you. You're on my show, and you're telling me welcome. You
well, I haven't
presumptuous.
Heard the other station.
Well, you're going to milk this blind thing, aren't you? You know what I mean? You're going to figure you own everything, and I got to stop what I'm doing because you're. I'm kidding, of course. Lou, how long have you been blind?
What time is it now? No, I'm 74 years old.
I didn't ask you how old you are. How long have you been blind?
Since birth.
Okay, that's what you got to answer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just say since birth, not I'm 74 years old.
Yeah.
That's like saying, where are you going? Tuesday. What? Anyway. And is there a particular reason why you are blind that you can point to medically? Or?
Well, it's probably it probably doesn't exist anymore.
I think blindness
acronym
exists.
is RLS.
Uh-huh.
Retrolental fibroplasia.
Oh, interesting.
In other words, it happens with premature kids who are underweight.
I see.
They solve the problem a year later, and it's just my luck.
So you have never, ever seen anything. Is it
Nothing.
Is your life? Do you see complete darkness? Do you see any light at all?
Light in one eye, but it has to be very strong.
Oh, I see. Interesting. So
you know what an advantage is? I can fall asleep in the sun.
Ah. Wow, that sounds like a Sting song, Falling Asleep in the Sun. Now, when you dream, so you have never seen...
Color, no.
Color, you've never seen people. What
No.
Have you ever met women that you find attractive?
Oh, sure, especially with the long, straight hair.
Now,
And,
how do you know that? When you just, first of all...
Oh, yeah, well, it's right there, you know. And
No, it's not right there. No. First of all, you have to meet them. Before you start grabbing their hair to detect how long it is, you have to meet, I would hope. I mean, that blind thing only goes so far. I'm blind. Okay, all right. Officer, I'm blind.
Yes, you're right, absolutely.
So, but you would have to listen to her voice, her kindness, her intelligence, correct?
Yes, the totality of the person.
And then you start grabbing her hair. Then you go, all right, I'm done with this. Give me that hair.
Yes, you get to know them before you abuse and degrade them, you see what I mean?
What would? I'm serious. This may sound crazy. I don't mean to be crude.
Oh, go right ahead. You're an intriguing person.
What would blind porn be?
You know, there was such a thing. I heard about it. It was.
Of course, you'd have to hear about it
audio.
because you couldn't read about it. You had to hear about it.
Well, yeah,
you know,
but,
I felt it one time.
It existed for a very short time, and it was on one of those the left side of the FM dial. They played it. You know, I don't know where it went.
What are you talking about? FM dial porn on the FM for blind people? You know, that would be would be something.
It was a sample.
Hang on a minute. Wait a minute. Listen, we're on to something. Riff, you could program that. Nobody would do it better. I program blind porn on the left side of the FM dial. I don't know what that means.
This was a very long time ago.
Apparently so. Like before radio, like in the 20s?
Yeah.
Now, are you married now? Tell me about yourself.
Right. I was married for 5 years and 4 months, and then she passed away in December of 2001 on top of everything else, because I used to be from the Lower East Side.
Oh, no. I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I got great in-laws out of it, the crazy Irishmen. You know.
Isn't that great?
They're wonderful people. They are fantastic.
Now, was she sighted?
Yes, but she had diabetes and a whole bunch of other issues. And she went out with a fireman who had a car crash, and there goes one eye. You know, he was drinking at the time.
Oh,
so,
my God. But I'm saying, I'm see, you got to understand, I have always been fascinated by what blind people dream, what blind people, if I said to you, black people, what does that mean to you? Like, or Italian people, you can't, how much of how we identify with people is eliminated, augmented, or nullified when we can't see them?
Yeah, but, well, obviously, I guess if you get to know somebody well enough in the first place,
if I said to you, Asian people, let's go downtown and let's go have some Chinese food. You know what the food is. But
yeah,
what does that mean to you?
Well, certain accents are a big indicator, especially if somebody is from a certain area.
What I'm saying, I guess, but when we do not, like, for example, does the notion of overweight or tall or short, does that mean anything to you? What does it mean for when somebody's tall? If you can't see them, you say, okay, they're tall. Take my word for it. Do you find tall people attractive?
Okay, the direction of their voice is a big indicator.
Oh, by the way,
you walk along. I walk along.
I must say something.
The street with people all the time.
Just let me say something right now. It's 30 past the hour, or 32, whatever, roughly. On the other side of the minute. See, I looked up and all of a sudden, Blaze is pointing to his wrist. I'm saying, yes, I have one too. Thank you. Anyway, so I'm sorry. What are some of the advantages of being blind? As far as you know,
there's a relative, discernment, I guess, is important.
And being able to hear probably better than most people can hear, or other senses, so to speak.
Well, that's not very magical. I think the cerebral cortex just takes over and sort of compensates.
No, but what I'm saying is, it would seem to me, the law of diminished return would mean the more senses you have, the less each of them would be. For example, if I went to God and I said, listen, I want to be, imagine everything is flat. I don't know, flat me, again, just flat. And whenever there is an increase in one particular talent or another, for example, if I said, God, I want to be significantly smarter, God would say, well, you're going to be significantly crazier, because if you're smart, you're going to see things in ways that other people don't. And sometimes it's good, but sometimes it's bad. You will be able to discern things that other people can't, and you will be able to find new things to be upset over. if I said, God, I want to be able to see better, you say, well, your hearing is going to decrease because you're going to need your hearing less if your eyes are so incredibly. So there's a balance. If there are other senses, for example, the ability to like ESP, if that were an actual sense, I wonder what that would detract from, because I believe we have that to an extent. Anyway, the purpose of your call, Lou, I'm sorry, I hijacked your call. I didn't mean to do it.
Well, that was great. We're just having a discussion about some deep things here. But I was also amazed at Tom because all the time he was snoring, it was all nasal. You know how some people, if their tongue releases, and you actually start breathing through your mouth. But that didn't happen with Tom. He just completely, it was like symmetrical.
You know, it's funny you said that. You're hearing. Yeah. See, you're right. That's not the glottis flapping. It's almost like just. You're right. It's nasal. It's But doesn't it sound?
It sounds like he's in a wooden coffin.
But it sounds also like a machine, like a grinding, something grinding, or that you're pulling the cord of something, like you're trying to start an engine or something.
Oh my gosh, the pendulum.
Yes.
Left to right, left to right.
I think that is so. And also, isn't it interesting how nothing kicks in? Like nothing. He doesn't wake
no
himself
outside
up.
Interruptions or anything.
But it must be something where you can't hear yourself. Now, if somebody was next to you, you'd wake up. It's like you can't tickle yourself. Maybe you can't hear yourself because if you did, you wouldn't sleep because you would be aware of your own breathing. Who knows how we got into this discussion?
Well, it certainly wasn't planned, right?
No, nothing is. What does even planning mean? I can hope. Planning is hoping. It's trying to. It's a schematic if all things go well. Well, Lou, let me ask you something. What do you do during the day? What do you do?
Well, I'm pretty much retired. I used to carry a keyboard in an overnight bag and a keyboard rack where somebody would need me to play, I would get there and,
What are you talking about? You mean you play the piano or play the keyboards?
Keyboards, yeah.
You had, by the way, that was what you just said. The way you said that was so right brain. You didn't say, I play the piano. You said, well, if anybody needs me, I grab my keyboard, I put my keyboard in a bag, and I show up and I go there. You described what you did, but you didn't tell us what it was. That's right brain. That's like when they would sometimes shut off the left brain during the hemispherectomies and brain surgery. They would hold up a shoe and somebody would say, theoretically, they would say leather. It's like, well, yeah, that was very interesting the way you did this. You didn't say, I play keyboards, I play the... You did it in a unique way. See, I love the way people tell...
Circuitous way, maybe.
Circuitous, desultory, elliptical, discursive. I like people who tell stories. My father used to tell stories needlessly specific. Well, I got up. No, I didn't. It was a Tuesday. No, I had to take your mother down. I said, nobody's asking you these questions. Just answer the question.
You forgot what the question was.
No, but very, very, very. I love people who also tell the stories and then laugh at themselves. Well, one time, I was. It's like, let me be that. You're laughing at yourself. You're laughing at yourself. Yeah. All right, Lou. Anything else in your mind?
Not really. I hope to call you again sometime instead of sleeping like I should be.
Yes. Well, no. Why would you be sleeping? Sleep later. Sleep later. Seriously, sleep later. You're going to sleep. Or you can say, sleep in the sun. Wasn't that a Petula Clark song? Don't sleep in the subway. Don't stare in the sun. Or anyway, listen, Lou, thank you, my friend.
All right.
Call me again. Isn't that fantastic? Isn't that something? Let's go to David in Pennsylvania. David, you're on the other side of midnight with Lionel.
Happy New Week, Lionel. And
There was reported on the news. It just came on at 4:30 here. Locally, there were 4 or 5 shootings in which at least one person was shot, sometimes numerous.
Where?
In the city. Now, how much?
What city? What city? What city?
Pittsburgh.
Oh, well, you act like it just, all it says here is David, Pennsylvania. I don't know where the hell you're calling from. Don't talk to me like that.
Not Philadelphia. It might have been worse in Philadelphia. What are we going to do when the dog days of summer really get here and the shootings may increase? I mean, come on now. How much is it, if they can't get through to these young punks any other way about the shootings, is to stop doing it over drugs? How much is it costing the government and the people? The people are the government. How much is it costing to investigate, to throw them in jail, to have the hearings, to rehabilitate these people, to clean up the shooting areas?
Well, what would you like to be done?
The ambulances there.
What would you like to be done?
Huh?
What would you like done instead?
The kids to stop fighting over drugs.
No. How would you stop that?
Stop the violence. Stop the violence.
Okay. How would you?
Each other.
How would you stop the violence?
I guess stricter penalties. Stricter. Lock them up. I don't care how old they are. Some of these kids are 16 making these shootings, and they're getting away because
there are some very, very serious penalties for shooting.
I hope so.
But if those penalties don't work, what do we do? I'm seeing right here, teenager killed in early morning shooting in Middle Hill neighborhood. 16-year-old killed in overnight Hill District shooting. Then there's 2 women injured in Penn Hills shooting.
Yeah.
A lot of shootings there. So let me ask you this. Let's talk. Who are these people? White, black, young, old, men, women? Who are they? Who are these people shooting each other?
Mostly young, but you get some older, mostly men, older men that think they're young again or something, trying to live up to their youth that they never really appreciated.
Wait a
minute. They go out and shoot sometimes.
Wait a minute.
They shoot. There was one right down
What are
the
you
street
talking
from
about?
here.
Wait a minute. You're telling me that some guy says, well, I'm getting a little older, and I used to be younger, but doggone it, I'm going to go out, I'm going to shoot somebody to show that. What are you talking about?
That's the way some of these people think.
Nobody's like that. You're making this up.
Like emulate the younger people.
Nobody's going out shooting just to shoot for the sake of shooting. There must be a different reason for it. Conflict resolution, robbery, crime. I'm going to go out and show people.
There was a shooting right down the road here. A man shot another man in an entrance.
Let's see how mad we can make him.
Late at night. When
I'm just going to pretend I don't understand what he's saying.
At a school.
Let's see what I do.
At a school, a grade school entrance.
Why?
Shot another man for no reason at all.
Well, you mean no reason? You don't know.
He had no drugs.
You don't know this. Maybe he had a reason. Did you talk to the person?
That's what the cops reported.
Who said that? Oh, the cops are going to report his reason? And would it matter if he had a reason?
He had no reason to do it.
Watch this. He's getting mad.
It happened right down the road.
But you mean he didn't have a good reason? He had the reason why is he wanted to shoot. That was the reason. You just don't think it was a good reason.
A tough guy.
I have no idea what I'm saying. Let's watch this. Let's get really absurd now, okay? Really absurd.
At heart.
But don't you think the idea isn't so much of the shooting, but your inability to understand why he shot? It's really more about you.
I don't understand. I don't understand.
But let me try this again. I mean, that's the problem. If more people like you didn't understand, how do you expect things to get fixed? Huh? Pretty good, huh?
I'm going to do a Pittsburgh thing and hang up and listen.
Well,
I'll give other people a chance.
Why would you
hang up and listen?
It's okay. All right. See, I got him. See, that's the best thing. Sometimes it's great just to start asking people, like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? Do that to your boss, especially. Next time you're in a meeting, different people, what are you talking about? Well, how do I know that's true? You know, they shot. Who are they? What do you mean they? I like all of a sudden you go off on a tangent. What? Who are they? You said they shot. I don't know. Well, you said they. What is this, a black? I didn't say black. I know what you're saying. You don't know what I'm saying. And then you go off and I love doing that. Just take them off into a tangent and then start yelling. Why do I do this? Because I'm demented. I am demented. I enjoy this. These people were put in my world to amuse me. Now, let me look at this horrible story. Horrible. They were asking the president, what are you going to do about the tragedy in Texas? And he said, very frankly, I think correctly, he said, look, I'm going to kind of get in the way. When I show up, I get in the way of stuff. We have security, and why don't I let people maybe get to the bottom, and then I'll show up later, and, I'm just saying, just this. Did you see this one too? I love the New York Post, just these stories. Look at this. Chiefs owner. Chiefs owner's family loses 9-year-old girl in Texas floods. So sad. And when I see little kids during the course of their life, innocent and through some freak of nature, that's why, and I'm going to say this, whenever I see anybody killed, any children, anywhere, there's something so incredibly sad. It's sad. It's part of our life to see little girls, little kids. They're so nice. They're innocent. And this happens. Put it this way. This is the randomness of life. Look at this. Try and calm everybody. Camp Mystic girls sob and sing campfire songs as they are evacuated from horrifying Texas flood zone. Oh my God. Those poor girls. Did you see this one? Cops reveal chilling new details on Sophia Hutchins' fatal ATV crash as pal Caitlyn Jenner speaks out. Can you see that one? Here we go. Editorial, the New York Post. Pathetic Democrats are falling over themselves and in line with the dangerous Zoran Mamdani. All right, I'm going to say this. I didn't want to do this. Listen, Republicans, don't yell at the Democrats for falling in line. Do something. What are you going to do? What are you doing? Here's another one. Editorial. Zoran Mamdani's other baggage. Bringing a socialist army to City Hall. Who's going to read this? Who do you think is going to read this? Let me read something to you about this. I know I'm changing the subject, but I wanted to share this with you because I think this is one of these incredibly important. Look at this story. This is from The Patch. even after months of organizing, this is from June 30th, even after months of organizing, 250 volunteers to canvass for Zoran Mamdani in the city's South Asian neighborhoods. Jagpreet Singh was stunned to see how those communities turned out for the 33-year-old Democratic Socialist on election night. Quote, "We saw like all of our neighborhoods just glowing," said Mr. Singh, the political director of the South Asian and Indo-Caribbean political organization group Drumbeats, recalling the moment when a researcher at Mamdani's election party held up a map of how different areas had voted for their first place picks in the ranked choice election. It was unbelievable, he said. I was basically floating in the air at that point. I'm not going to get my voice back for another day or two. Mamdani, who would become the city's first South Asian and Muslim mayor if he prevails in the unusually crowded general election in November, handily clinched a commanding lead in Asian neighborhoods representing many ethnicities. Listen to this one. I want to read this one line to you. Let me see. Where is the part? Here we go. Mamdani's success among Asian voters was no small feat for a third-term state legislator who, by his own telling, had been a no-name candidate who started the race with just 1% name recognition. He energized Asian voters who sat out in previous elections with a 50,000-member canvassing army. 50,000 that knocked on more than 1.5 million doors, while he started an infectious social media campaign videos to explain ranked choice voting in Hindi, Urdu, and Bangla, using South Asian culinary staples like mango lassi and mishtis, forgive me if I'm not pronouncing this correctly, as visual aids. In the week leading up to the primary alone, he visited 135 mosques. People said they liked the way he looked. They liked what he talked about for rent freezes for elderly people. This is what he did. 135 mosques. So what does the New York Post do? The way you said, you attack them. They're crazy. They're stupid. I'm thinking to myself, that's not the way to do it. Go out there and mimic it. Go out and meet people. It's called campaigning. I don't understand it. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm whatever. But every now and then I watch them, and I love somebody who will bring in something. It's one thing to say, well, I got this brooch, but somebody will bring in like an entire wall unit or pillars from a battle site or something. And there's got to be something where the stuff is so big where you have to go out to it. And they say, well, it's worth, had you not painted this, quit saying this. Well, that's very rare what you just showed us. So anyway, that's what we do. Sometimes they will give us something which is very rare and perfect. And we don't paint it. We just open up and just let it go. We started tonight, my friends, with Dane Wiggington, and I hope you are aware. Just look up geoengineeringwatch.org. Watch the show or the video, The Dimming. Learn about this. The Dimming. Learn this. It's up. It is. Don't sit back and say, well, I think this is seeding. No. Learn. The best things in life that you learn are now, not when you were in school. They're not going to teach you this. Also, Marjorie Taylor Greene, God bless you. And also, pay attention today. You're going to hear nothing about this. Then we talked about the absolute travesty of saying or suggesting to you that Jeffrey Epstein hanged himself, not hung, hanged himself via ligature or some type of suspension about and around the neck. That is absolutely absurd. I can't believe this ride we've been. I mean, it is. I'm not leaving the president by any stretch. There's no place to go. But I have absolutely felt a level of disappointment that I've not felt in quite a long time. All right, my friends, thank you. Mr. Raff, thank you so much for everything you appeared to do and attempted to do. Thank you so much. And Mr. Blaze, you are without peer, my friend. You are the Stanley Fafara of board hopping, and I mean this sincerely. We'll see you tomorrow, if the good Lord's willing and the creek don't rise, whatever the hell that means. Until then, remember, LionelMedia.com. Follow me there. And until then, I leave you with this valedictory. The monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya.